Yep. Yep. Oh, this little ice pack I'm sitting on is amazing. Amazing. If anything, come on. I have a shirt wrapped around it. I'm actually thinking hopefully that'll kind of keep it cool too. Oh my god, it did. Oh, ho, 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 yeah. Oh, it did. Hell yeah. Oh. Well, mostly cold. Oh. This ice pack is actually quite nice. It actually makes it quite nice. Now some chili. I'm loving this. Just gonna let sit this between my legs and let that chill flow from my leg and then up into my body. Because holy shit. Still really hot out there. Definitely not as bad as it was earlier in the afternoon, but definitely nothing to my liking, so. Jesus Christ. Goes on the back. Ooh. Oh, okay, that's like piercing me. It's like 1,000 cold needles. Do you want this? Do you want this ice pack? I'll make you feel good too, bro. Probably would for Zukov. I'll see what he does with it. Actually, I'm pretty good with it now. What are you gonna do with it? Not to kill ice pack. He's just so like low. Goofball. He's very unreactive to an ice pack. If anything, he probably felt a little nice and pleasant with that. Doc of the Whiskey 9MC. What's up? What's up, Rip? What's out of the way? Ugh. There's an ugh. Ugh, huh? Ugh. Let's see what ugh is. We have been told that the word groomer is now offensive. In the words of the great Matt Gates, be offended. Wow. That's not just a cell phone, but it's just kind of like an overt, just like kind of admission of like, yeah, we're using it as a homophobic slur, so go fuck yourself, be offended, bitch. We need to stop normalizing these gay pedophiles. Wow, I'm not exactly surprised. Morning status. Hey, what's going on here? Squirrel getting drunk on fermented peanuts? Or fermented what? Fermented pears. Oh. Oh my god. Whoa, bro. Dude, my guy is having some fun. Dude, my dude is... Looks like he's tripping. Or like he's high. Dude, you can easily pick up this little squirrel. He's like, I got it. I'm holding on. I got it, man. There, just let me eat some of my nuts. I'll sober myself up, bro. I guess, right? Whiskey night. I did have some cider boys and a White Claw. So, yeah, I mean, you know, just give me some alcoholies. So I was thinking to check out a couple stuff that I was seeing on More Perfect Union, and a little bit of detail of an article about that whole Trader Jose's unionization and shit. Because I was kind of, because near the end of my air stream, before I was getting some more tea and shit, I was just like, oh, just seeing a bunch of little news about that. You know what? So yeah, I think I might as well, yeah, at least, you know, kind of delve into that a little bit. Oh, after I got some food and shit, I was kind of working up on my basic Kenshi and shit, and it is coming along really nicely, if I do say so myself. Got my little homes and shit all made up nice and pretty and stuff. Everything's looking pretty good. Got like some mines being made. Hot as fuck still. Yeah, it really is. I mean, I'm sick of it. So I'm done with the heat, honestly, as far as I'm concerned. But here. Just shit. Getting pretty happy with my little results going on in this bad boy. Got my little mines going on right here. A little stone and iron processors and shit. Got my little nice beautiful homes being built. This is my little medical crafting bench and stuff, so I can, what the fuck do I even, like, what basic first aid? Oh, fabrics? Really? It's that easy? Okay, wow, I didn't realize it was that easy to make, medical stuff. But I also got some alcohol brewage going on right here. Got some alcoholics and, some hemp-based, fabric, production. You know, because that's always cool. And yeah, I mean, yeah, just got a little nice and crafty little thing going on right here. If I do say so myself, this nice little, pretty secured little spot. It's just like ooh. All right, that's kind of a cool little view of the night right there of those planets. Not gonna lie, it's kind of cool. Hell yeah, I'm liking how that's going along. Just a little bit by bit, slowly but surely, that place will be built up to a pretty decent little town. And hopefully by then I can start doing my long-term plan that I want to do with that. I actually need to get my, dudes, I'm having a little pilgrimage back there, but I'm also raiding a little camp that has, like, some stuff that I want, that I saw. Kind of laying on the ground. Which, luckily, they're just a bunch of bandits. It's just one of their camps, so I have no qualms about raiding that shit. Because once to do that, then I can get them back home and get some of the research books and all that shit going. All that fun stuff. It's exciting. Just my boy, and then a little pack bowl with me. It's just like, hell yeah. What up? Just popping in, playing some Xenoblade 3, just came out. Nice. Now I was gonna kind of check out, you know, a little bit of like some labor news and shit. I was gonna see about, did I get, oh yeah, I still need to get the shit here. Okay, yeah, I was thinking about maybe at least doing a quick little raid of this little camp in this game here, and then get my boys back into my camp. But I know there's like a bandit patrol nearby, if I remember earlier, so I'm thinking that'll probably be a little bit too focus consuming, at least for right now. I'd rather just like, you know, let them walk, scan a little bit, and just like, okay, be cool. Playing Kenshi. Just bought it recently, about like a couple weeks ago, when it was on sale for like $11 or something like that, and this game's fucking dope. You could literally pretty much like be any type of like character you want, basically. You could be like, you know, a soldier type, a trader, a like kind of a just a wandering serf type, a mercenary, you know, scavenger, a thief if you wanted to, you know, just different little thieves guilds. I mean, if you have the unfortunate circumstances of, becoming one, you can also be a slave in the game because there's different factions that are fervently okay with that, to the point it's literally a part of their economy. So it's like, yeah, that's also in the game, but there's also anti-slave factions that fight back against that shit and raid those bitches. So, and I'm looking to John Brown my way into that game a little bit. Just be kind of quiet, building my stuff up, and out of nowhere, slave farms, like, mines are just being raided all nowhere. It's like, what? What the fuck? It's interesting. Yeah, it's a pretty good game. It has a pretty very in-depth lore, like, because from what I understand, like, in the timeline of the game, it's like an apocalypse of the apocalypse of, like, another apocalypse. So it's like, there's been, like, multi-set different, like, apocalyptic events with different empires, and each time more technology has been lost, and now it's at the point where it's like crossbows and swords and shit. Because it used to be, like, in the lore where there was, like, space travel, intergalactic shit going on, and due to all sorts of political strife of various different groups and shit, eventually led to a lot of pretty much mass extinction, apocalyptic level style events and shit, and thus a lot of technology was lost each time shit like that happened. Over the course of, like, thousands and thousands of years and shit. Kind of like Dune expansive style, like, lore and shit. It definitely takes a lot of notes of Dune, for sure. Especially being you're on the desert planet, which the planet's called Kenshi. Hence the name. But it's a pretty fun game. I really love it. I'm still not getting every tiny little thing down, but I pretty much got the general gist of the game, at least mechanics down. Now I'm just kind of more or less seeing what I can understand with the lore without really, like, just looking at guides or shit. It's definitely a fun game. Kind of reminiscent of, like, Mount & Blade, if you played that before, and also kind of reminiscent of, like, some of the older Fallout games, just a little. I love how every time I'm in here, he's just facing at the very edge of that door over there. Zukov, you goofball. He probably does want a little ice pack. I don't blame him. Actually, I'm starting to feel like I want that ice pack back. And you know what? It will work for an ice pack, though. A cider. Definitely sounds like it'd be interesting. I mostly play games on my Switch, not PC guy. Yeah, I don't have a Switch. I heard there's a lot of fun games on Switch, though. Me and my Windows are not friends. I kind of feel you with that. I'm not that fond of Windows. Like, I would be more fond of Linux if, if there at least was a lot more compatibility with, a lot of games that I like to play and shit, but over time, that's been getting better, but, because Linux and Steam have both been working together to kind of become more compatible. So, I mean, I definitely prefer Linux, but never tried it, yeah. I tried it once, but I kind of let my friend Rip City hook it up for me and set it up because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And also I never really got the total hang of it, but if you kind of at least have an ability to, mess around with, like, software and stuff a little bit, or, like, some basic script stuff, I mean, it's not that bad, but even then, if you don't know that shit, it's not, like, that big of a deal. There's other, like, tools and shit that make it a little easier. Most games are compatible now, thanks to Steam. Sweet. Yeah, I figured as pretty much, like, the years go by, it just becomes more and more compatible. Manjaro on both of my computers. Manjaro. Hey. Next time I get Linux set up on one of my PCs, I'll probably just have the one you guys set up. Because then, if anything, I want to adjust it, or if there's anything I want to do to it, I can always kind of refer to you for some advice if I need to. Just be like, hey, if it's a Manjaro thing, just want to make sure I don't fuck something up if I do this, right? Or if I do that, blah, blah, blah. I play if there was really exciting MMORPG or something coming out. Great at playing at MMOs, but there hasn't been anything good in years. Yeah, because they all kind of take the same format. It's kind of the problem with them. Like that's kind of what I like about Kenshi, even though it's not multiplayer. There is like a mod, I think, that does make it kind of multiplayer-esque, though it's very buggy, and the vanilla game in itself can be kind of buggy. But honestly, I mean, when it comes to a game like that, but being more of like a massive multiplayer online, that would be pretty dope. This is the best in my opinion. I like how easy it is to stay updated. Ah. Oh, well, there you go. If it's easy to stay updated with it and just kind of easier to work with, then eh. Should have done that the first time I got Linux, because I think I used like Ubuntu or some shit. Boss Arthur. I've heard some good stuff about Boss Arthur. I think I actually might have that on Steam, if I remember correctly. I'm not too sure. I know, I don't have Smash Bros, but one of my friends has, like, one of the older, Smash Bros. I think that's on either the GameCube or the N64, one of the two. And, oh, it's still a hella classic. I haven't played the more modern ones, but I'm sure they're just as good. I mean, the whole premise of Smash Bros. Hasn't exactly changed. I mean, it's pretty much like the same premise either way. It's just different characters and maybe different fight moves and shit like that, you know. But other than that, still the same game basically. Switch Smash Bros. Is epic. Oh. See, I might get to Switch just for Smash Bros. Because I actually legit like Smash Bros. I've never been good at it, but I do like it. Because it's one of those games where it's like, you really can't get mad at losing, honestly, because it's just such a chaotic, absurd game. And everyone, like, if you, like, make a comment of, like, man, I feel like I'm just butt smashing, so no matter what, there's always going to be someone who's like, don't worry, bro, we all butt smash at one point. Like, every time. Like, I mean, because it's just one of those games where there's almost a sense of, like, it's okay to try to button smash every now and then, because, fuck, sometimes shit just be that chaotic where you don't know what you need to do, you're just gonna smash all the buttons and hope something works. You can play the Wii Smash Bros. On a computer, just need controllers. Oh! I didn't know that. Butt smashing, that's what you, like you said, butt smashing. Well, I mean, hey, you can do that and button smash at the same time. Button smashing and butt smashing. I probably just said it kind of like with a southern twang to it a little bit, like button. Yeah, you got yourself a little bit of button there. It's like heavy emphasis on the butt, but just kind of a for the button. So it sounds more like you're saying butt, but you're actually just saying button. So yeah, I think that was where a little bit of my southern drawl unintentionally popped out. That's why it probably sounded like I said butt smashing earlier. Mario Kart Wii is the best in my opinion. Ass Monkey Eagle based. Ass Monkey. Yeah, that's another really hella fucking fun game, Mario Kart. Dude, I always, oh my god, whenever my, I remember when my cousin, before he gave me the N64, he would have that. Though for some reason, I don't think that was one of the games he gave me. I think they gave that to one of his other friends, the bastard. But, like, there was times where I would go over to his place back in Montana when we were growing up, and oh my god, dude, that was the one game where, like, you would actually have, like, some minor justification of getting legitimately ragey. Because, oh my goodness. There was just some times I set some people off in rage modes, especially if those bananas do, when you go, you know, start touring off somewhere, it's like, dude, I fucked some bitches up with that shit. But you gotta watch out, because you can get fucked up with those too. I don't know why Nintendo got rid of the 2-player per car thing from the Wii that was based. Oh yeah, I always I like that one too. I think I remember playing the that version of it at one of my other friends' house, or it might have honestly been at like the church that I went to, because they had weed there, and they would always have, like, you know, before like the hour some of the boring ass lame services, there's the gaming area where you can just kind of chill and play games and hang out and shit. And I think that was one of the games I played a lot before doing shit, because I remember playing that a lot. I just don't remember from where, but I'm pretty sure that's where. There was a lot of games like Star Fox, a lot of Smash Bros. And shit, and stuff like that, and Mario Kart that I remember having a lot of memories. It's funny enough, I like the little church I went to, but just because, I mean, a lot of it was just mostly hanging out at the game center area, just kind of chilling, having like little mini competitions and shit like that before services start. And if they let us continue playing them after the fact, you know, it's just like once everything was all said and done, so we can, like, you know, maybe continue our little competitions and tournaments and shit, you know, it'd be a lot more intense. But then I think they would never be able to kick us out. See, that was kind of their Achilles heel with that one. They had to keep that shit shut down even once they were like done and ready to pack it up. They're like, "All right, kids, we're done. Get out." It's like, what? What? No, we had a tournament going, bruh. We're gonna finish that shit. Fuck you. I have every right to finish my Mario Smash Bros. Tournament, you son of a bitch. You wouldn't let God be left hanging, would you? So why would you let this be hanging? Come on. I think unironically that was straight up like a thing that one of the kids pulled, and they were just like, really? It's just like, you're actually gonna try to do that? Honestly, I mean, I think I'm just lucky that I was at church. It wasn't so, like, bad. I mean, it was just kind of bad in the sense of it just being a religiously indoctrinatory zone, but, I mean, in a sense of, like, the typical usual problems that kind of come up that's rife, that's, like, in all these different churches throughout the country and shit, it's just like, man, I had it fucking a little too easy. The worst is like, oh, you know, it's kind of a sin, you know, to be gay and stuff, but, you know, God still loves you. That's, like, pretty much the worst that I ever really got it. Which still, in itself, is still kind of fucked, because you're still being guilt-tripped, but... Not where it's like, you gotta, like, change yourself or something. You just have to be the good gay. It's pretty much what it meant. It's like, you gotta be like one of the gooder gays. Right. Especially for like this like hyper monkeypox shit, you know, fear mongering that's coming out with a lot of the far right and shit. It's just like, which I feel a little vindicated. Like, it wasn't even like a few streams ago where when I like saw something about that, I was like, what? No way. And then, you know, watching, I was like, oh god, yeah, there is a way. And it's not even days after. I was thinking like weeks or months, but no, it's days after, and they're already doing it. It's like, I fucking knew it. I mean, no, in this country, it's like, why did I think it was gonna be like weeks or months? It was gonna be within fucking days. Because got like Marjorie literally being like, hey, it's okay to mock gay people, and, you know, because they're pretty much like the main target of getting hit with monkeypox and shit. Or whatever the fuck. Which I guess for right now is kind of true, but that's just because of close intimate contact, and because of that, thus something like a pox virus or, you know, shit is gonna spread, because that's especially how it spreads. Like, fuck, if I was affected and I just left this bandana left out on, like, the sidewalk or something, and somebody picked that up, they would potentially be affected with that. Because of just that. I mean, it's not, like, and they want to try to paint it as, like, some STD or an STI. I mean, I hope she gets it. Dude, oh my god, that'd be hilarious. Like, that actually, like, what she gets it around her, like, mouth, too, honestly. You know, just, like, you know, because then it would just be like, oh. Uh-oh. It's like you got monkeypox, but there seems to be a concentration where you got infected with that. Because I've seen some pictures of recent cases, you know, some people with it. and obviously a lot of them tend to be gay men right now, or bisexual men, and some of them have, a lot of, like concentrations of a lot of their infection, like around their mouths, or, or like around their hands and arms and shit, because chances, they're using their hands and obviously their mouths and stuff with intimate, actions and stuff, obviously. So it's like that tends to be like the main spots that, become very outbreakish with this shit. Which also is like hard to cover up too a little bit. And plus it leaves a lot of scars and they look fucking horrible. Another emphasis for like safe sex too, by the way. Though I don't think, any amount of condoms and shit like that is gonna really save you from monkeypox though. She's probably vaccinated. Dude, she's not honestly, with Moron Titan Green, she's not a grifter. She actually does like believe the shit that she does. I do truly think she's one of those fucking few that actually believes what she does, and believes what she advocates and pushes and shit. Like, she openly, proudly calls herself a Christian nationalist, and has been doing so for a while. I mean, she doesn't strike me as a grifter. I thought she got the COVID vax. I think others did. I don't know about her specifically. I don't know if she did. And even then, there's a lot of anti-COVID vax people that get it because they were like forced to or some shit, and they're like, they forced me and I couldn't say anything, so this is what happens with the tyranny that they try to push. I'm a victim of it. Or some shit. Like, they usually try to peddle it like in that way, usually. Oh, fuck. Let me get another lighter. Damn it. No. I should probably pretty soon try to find one now. Get myself up a little bit. Have to back up. I can tell the flames getting smaller. Are you Gucci? No, you're not. Well, fuck you too. Yeah, I'm just gonna get another. You need to get another pack of them when I go to work tomorrow. You know what? I'm actually just gonna see if the Titan herself. So I don't believe she did. Well, she says she hasn't. But remember, oh wait, hold on. That's down here. GBP News, PBS, NPR, okay. Marjorie Taylor, Moron Titan Green, yeah. A rare member of Congress who declines to vote back. Yeah, so she doesn't have it. She, like, outright denies it. Like, nope, I'm not taking it. She's a moron. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, she's one of the rare few, like, people like McConnell are grifters. Like, her, like, she actually believes the shit that she spouts. Maybe not, like, I mean, she literally had to go to, like, a Holocaust museum and write, like, a little... because I doubt she can fucking write for shit, a book report on, like, the Holocaust and shit, because she was too anti-Semitic for the fucking Republican Party, basically. she was that bad. Like, I don't necessarily, like, because she literally thought Jewish space lasers were starting fucking wildfires in California. I mean, she thinks a lot of these more recent shootings were outright fucking false flags. Like, I don't know, she's legit that insane. And, that's just what makes it exceptionally disturbing. Is that she actually believes that shit. Or at least, you know, to a degree. I mean, it's like pretty much being a Republican by proxy kind of means you're going to be a grifter to an extent, but, I mean, sometimes that isn't exactly the main priority, because a lot of these type of motherfuckers aren't even necessarily pro-business. Like, you have a lot of these far-right, which Marjorie is definitely part of it, like DeSantis, too, that are actually pretty anti-business if it goes against their agenda. Like, where they will actually stifle and curtail a lot of, you know, the business and a lot of the free market and shit when it comes to, you know, like, different business. Like, I think Ron DeSantis at one point, because there was a couple of different tweets that, I forgot what business, like some regional local business that was in Florida that was getting, like, some subsidy grants or some shit. And basically, DeSantis was like, nah, because he made some mean tweets about me, I'm not actually gonna fucking, you know, give you any, like, state budgetary finances anymore. Which, I think in itself probably wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, but literally just out of the sheer fact of vindictiveness and because, oh, they made some bad tweets about me, so fuck you. I mean, that in itself is kind of the fucking problem. I mean, letting companies and businesses just, you know, have, you know, state, you know, money and stuff, you know, just kind of willy-nilly and shit, or maybe not. Don't know to all context of why the business was getting the money in the first place, but either way, I mean, it's just like, that, you know, it's like, that could be questionable, probably shouldn't be going on in the first place, but shouldn't be canceled because of vindictive bullshit, because, oh, you're a spiteful little prick, you little goddamn Weasley little shitbag frat boy DeSantis. I mean, that guy is also another dude who actually believes the shit that he does, and that dude is, like, even more fucking terrifying, because he's competent. Like, people like Moron Titan Green aren't, but him, like, he's pretty much, like, the banality of evil, and that's what makes him more sinister. Like, in a way, it would be a strange, like, silver lining to have maybe a Trump nominee again, just because fucking DeSantis would actually legitimately have a chance of winning. And there's plenty of Trump types that are just like, yeah, I'll go for DeSantis, sure. But there's far less people nowadays who are going to be like, yeah, let me go with Trump again. A lot more Trump supporters are willing to go on the DeSantis train than stick with the Trump train at this point. So that in itself should be fucking definitely concerning. That includes big business donors and shit as well, and lobbyists, because a lot of them have already jumped on the DeSantis train now. Sukov, you're closing yourself off. What are you doing? Oh my lord. I wish I could just, like, have something to just, like, just, like, poke the door open with, but I don't have anything long enough to do that with. I just realized, you know, with one of these flagpoles, could I do it? Honestly, probably not. I'm not even gonna try. There is a little buzz going on now, and that on top of the attempt to do that, instead of just standing up like a normal human being, is probably going to be in a mass complicated nightmares, and I don't want that. I gotta free him, though. Like, oh my god, you goofball! What are you... Yeah, what are you doing? Hi. What are you doing? You silly boy. Oh, look at Zero. No, look at Zero. Oh, you stretch. Ooh. Oh, yes, you sweet boy. Those are sweet boy, those are reals. Okay. We're done here. You're warming my leg up so insane right now, dude. Oh my god. Bruh. Yeah. There you go. Go. Oh my god. We bite. A little bite. My goodness. These are ridiculous little fruit. Anyway. Here, I want to pop up some of the stuff I want to kind of check out here. So, I know a little bit before I wrapped up earlier today on my stream, saw this little video about a railroad strike might be coming afoot. I was actually reading a little bit about it, and, well, I guess watching some of it, pre-watched it, and it's something that, honestly, if it ends up being the case, would happen in September. I think at the beginning of the month, so it's pretty much just like within a month if you know the different companies and unions don't come to an agreement, then now there might be a serious supply chain issue coming up ahead. But this time one that actually is probably merited. But anyway, I feel like we might check out a couple of these because there's another one I wanted to check out that was somewhere down. Yeah, right here. First, Chipotle Union. I'm assuming it's probably going to be Chipotle United.
A railroad strike across the industry.
We'll get to that when we do.
It would be like asking what would be the results if a nuclear bomb went off in New York. Obviously, it would be utter chaos and catastrophe.
As 115,000 railroad workers gear up for a nationwide strike over crushing conditions.
It seems intentional, like the railroad industry is intentionally trying to create an oppressive work environment so that they can reach their end goal and be able to give more money back to Wall Street.
Railroad workers have been working without a contract for more than 3 years. Jesus. We barely worked one for about a year. Like, what the fuck? This is insane. Like, 3 fucking years? So they've been negotiating for a new contract for well over 3 years. Like, holy shit, dude. Yeah, I mean, I would have been ready to strike, you know, like, if it was going on for over a year.
Works now for the last 3
years. I mean, our company, almost, or at least our union, almost did with ours if they didn't concede when they did. Because if they denied it again, then they would have came back and be like, all right, we're going to probably vote on a strike, and the next time we come back and let them know that the next time they deny it, we're going to strike, then, you know, that would have been the ultimatum. But luckily they decided to be like, all right, well, we'll concede. So, I mean, I guess for us, it's, you know, good. Because, I mean, you don't necessarily want it to get to the point of strike, but if this is, like, the point of where you're at, where it's like 3-something years or like well over a year and constant back and forth and just stonewalling and shit, then stonewall them. Fuck them then. You know, because like fundamentally you don't want to like shut things down and go on strike, but if they don't want to work with you and they want to stonewall your ass every step of the way, then fuck them. Then they get what's coming to them. You get striked on.
And they're putting themselves and their families at risk without a raise. They have not received any pay increase during that time. At the same time, they've seen their numbers dwindle dramatically. They've also seen the highest profits in the history of railroading over that same stretch of time.
So go figure, just like in all these other industries.
More with less, and that comes down to people, resources, locomotives, maintenance, everything.
President Biden has appointed an emergency board to mediate the contract dispute. Without a deal, workers could launch a strike by September.
Railroads have laid off 45,000 people in the past 5 years. That means that they are completely incapable of meeting the demand that is placed on our economy.
Just on duty time, you are...
Yeah, frankly, honestly, as a part of the contract, at least when able, or at least where able, they should rehire those fucking people they laid off. Because that's fucking bullshit, especially during the time that the contract was over. During that 3.5 some year time frame of without having a contract, like that especially, because that's fucking ridiculous, especially considering that there already is, you know, supply chain issues as there is, and yet they want to stifle that further and try to get more cut in their profits and shit. Like, I mean, that's kind of the point of the strike idea. It's like, you know what, if we're gonna have supply chain issues, we're gonna have it on our terms then, bitch. because we ain't gonna have these supply chain issues while you keep running away with all the fucking money bags, bitch. It's like, I mean, we're gonna make it so the supply chain issue goes into your pockets too. Because it should be like this, if there really truly is a supply chain issue, then your pockets would be affected. So, start paying up. Give us our fucking better wages and give us our conditions and, like, you know, rehire these fucking people you kicked out.
80 plus hours a week. That does not include the time that you're sitting
80?
The away from home terminal. I mean, you might be away from home, subject to the railroad, not with your family, for 120 hours in a week.
So how many hours are within a week? Because that's a lot of hours.
On these long runs like we have, where you're on the train consistently 10, 11, 12 hours, it is not realistic for a human being to be by themselves. There's no gas station to stop at.
Definitely not.
Cup of coffee when you're nodding off when they're getting tired. You can't get up and stretch your legs. Let's say the boards are exhausted.
186, 168. So yeah, about like 120 some hours. That's most of the week. That's basically like up to maybe 2 days, you know, with your folks, like a weekend. A weekend. You basically get a weekend to yourself with your folks.
You think you're going to work
while the railroad gets to do whatever they want with you.
There's a shortage of people. You end up getting called to work at 1 in the morning. When you're tired, you haven't gotten any sleep, you're tossed and turned, and then they expect you to be on a train for 12 hours by yourself.
On top of grueling schedule, the once competitive pay of railroaders is not kept up with inflation.
We used to be paid an above average salary.
Over 17 hours a day. And you know, with these guys, they're not doing just 17 hours a day type of shit. They're probably doing more than 1 day type of work and shit because they're on trains. That's why it's realistically better to have at least, like, you know, up to 2 or 3 different operators maybe on a train, so you can have someone take over, so the other guy can sleep for a little bit and rest up. Because it's not realistic, like this dude is saying, you know, earlier, to have someone be on a train for up to 12 plus hours in a fucking day by themselves. Especially when they got fucking nothing, like, especially near a pot pissing, you know, either, you know, to fucking do shit. You know, they're just like sitting there in that little like cabin and just, you know, having to maintain shit and just hope for the best and just hope they don't pass out or have to really take a mean shit, you know, while they're having, you know, to operate things.
Average lifestyle where we are gone holidays, weekends, but the way inflation is devaluing our purchasing power, that's not really the case anymore. You might only be making like $26 an hour gross when you consider the time that you're on the train, the time after your hours of service expired that you're sitting there in a siding, the time sitting in a hotel up to 16 hours without pay, and the fact that you're having to pay for those meals out of pocket. The sacrifice that we make is not being compensated. In this round of contract negotiations, I believe railroad workers as a whole want 4 things. An increase in their pay, they want to keep their health insurance, they want the ability to take time off when they're sick, when they need time with their family, without being subject to an oppressive attendance policy, and we don't want to be forced to one-man crews the way the railroad wants to cram it down our throat.
Biden's emergency board has 30 days to recommend terms for a new contract. Workers say it's an opportunity for Biden to prove that he's a pro-labor president. And honestly, this is at least one element that he can show that. That and forcing the PRO Act down to fucking Congress's and Senate's throat and passing that shit too, amongst other things. The NLRB, that's under his administration, I think is at least one little tiny thing that at least, you know, shows that, like, hey, you know, I am able to at least, like, be, you know, some sort of a pro-worker type of president. I got, you know, something in my administration, which is good. I mean, the NLRB has definitely been far more pro-worker in the last couple of years in comparison to the last, like, you know, like with the last administration, or even the administration before that. It's like one of the few crumbs that I guess we get. I've been waiting for the next stage of capitalism where companies replace work chairs to toilets to increase worker productivity and eliminate breaks altogether. Oh, you bet it will happen. Honestly, one of them's probably gonna snap. I mean, years of this shit, I could derail this train right now and nobody would be able to stop me. Frankly, I'm surprised that it hasn't happened. Honestly, y'all are familiar with Sky King, right? I think his name was like James Russell or Brandon Russell or something like that. The dude who basically took like a Horizon Airlines turboprop and just started flying around Seattle and shit. Like, that was like, if you actually hear some of the audio clips of that dude, like at one here I can actually find it because I can actually play a little part where he actually mentions something about wages. I'm not even fucking kidding. Like, a part of his snap, I suppose, was because of the fucking work that he was doing. Here, I bet if I just look up Sky King. Yeah, audio. Oh, Rich Russell is his name. It was somewhere like halfway through here, I think. I don't know. I'll have to. Somebody puts a timestamp, I think, with it. Oh, here, hold on.
Rich, what's your altitude? Cross 1600, cross 16 for that contact. We're in sequence, so we'll get.
Okay, hold on. You know, I know on his Wikipedia it actually shows it, or says it there. So it'll just be easier than trying to fucking shift for that. I don't have all these low contact time for yeah, we don't really need yeah, here we go. Oh, you know what? It's not even gonna mention his name. It's not even his name. It's the fucking flight. What was the name of the fucking name of the flight? Oh, 2018 Horizon Air Q400. Okay, that's the name of the Wikipedia page. So fucking convoluted. Incident. I know it's gonna be in here. Where was it? That's right. Investigation. Oh, I think it's gonna be in Perpetration. I mean, where the fuck is it in here? Okay, right here, I think. Right? Any of it? No? Oh my fucking god. Where is the quote for it? Where in the fuck is the goddamn quote? I guess there isn't. Oh, god damn it. I know it's basically equivalent of, I think his, I forgot what the specific one quote was, but it was like basically on pretty much basically on a summary of essentially his pay not being good, especially with what he was doing. At least a part of the quote is saying it's like didn't want to hurt nobody, and also did a full-on barrel roll of the fucking thing. Which, that in itself also kind of proves how impressive that fucking plane is, too, a little bit. Quiet guy, was well liked by other workers. Oh, here it is. Okay, yeah. So, alright, now I finally found it. An operational supervisor for Horizon Air described Russell as a quiet guy who was well liked by other workers. His communication with air traffic, Russell made a complaint about wages, saying minimum wage, we'll chalk it up to that. Maybe we'll get some grease. Maybe that'll grease some gears a little bit with the higher-ups. He was telling that to the ATC tower during his little flying around escapade before he decided to eventually take his life. Which, frankly, honestly, I don't even really, like, you know, feel any, like, malice to the dude, honestly. I just kind of feel bad. I mean, a lot of people kind of see him as, like, a little bit of a folklore anti-hero, I guess. You know, just because, you know, he didn't hurt anybody. Like, he just basically, like, he stole a plane, flew around, lived a little, and, you know, crashed it. I mean, this is like, you know, I could kind of, I mean, also, who's paying for that? Well, Bombardier and Horizon, you know, so a bunch of big corporate shitbags. So, you know, frankly, I mean, no one was hurt besides maybe a couple corporate execs here and there. You know, it's like, oh, well, I guess we could add that to our insurance. It's just kind of a little distasteful because someone stole it and died with it. Damn it. Have to put that on there. I don't know how well that greased up the higher-ups a little bit, but... I mean, honestly, it's just like, if you got, like, some dudes who are basically just, like, traffic terminal, like, tarmac terminal dudes at airports who are capable of doing that shit, I mean, I'm honestly surprised railroad operators aren't doing that shit. All of them, I mean, because it's just like... Yeah, I mean, they could easily, especially on, like, a turn, they can easily derail that shit. I mean, slow it down enough, you know, and have it, like, speed up really quick, and then just hop off, and, or just let it just sit at the very front of it, and just like, yeah, or whatever. Or just, like, sitting at, like, on the other side of it, just holding on to the rails, just, like, leaning forward. I was going, like, 120 miles an hour. Oh, please. A signaling system to help prevent that? A signaling system? Oh, with like the derailing or speeding up the trains or like the aircraft. I mean, I mentioned two different kind of types of things that probably have various different forms of security with them. Planes and trains. Planes, trains, and automobiles. No, trains aren't just operator driven, it's very computerized. Well, yeah, I guess, you know, a lot of modern, trains today are more computerized. Yeah, fair enough. I guess that's why a lot of railroads, you know, also tend to probably think, oh, yeah, you can have a one-man team because the computer can handle the rest. You know, so it's like, yeah, I mean, you probably still need to stay awake and blah, 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 but, you know, it's like, I mean, it's like you don't need to do all of the work. It's like, you still need someone operating the fucking computer, though. So, yeah, you still need, like, a two-man team. Because, I mean, I haven't, like, been inside, like, a full-on, like, train cabin, but I'm pretty sure, one, there ain't a bathroom in there, and two, there ain't really a spot to, like, take a nice little rest in. Even more regulated, similar technology that lets the guy trying to run without operators at all. Oh. Well, light rail and metro systems, I would imagine, are far different and even more regulated because it's in more dense populated areas, pedestrians, cars, shit like that. I mean, trains are usually going from like one rail yard to another that's like outside of town. Not often that, well, I mean, it's like there's a lot of places throughout, you know, the country that do, but I mean, it's not often that, like, you know, you got like major trains and railroads, you know, just cutting through like heavily dense areas. I mean, there's a lot of areas regionally that it's more often not. Like around here, like, I mean, a lot of railroads are cutting through suburban areas, the denser rural areas and shit like that. Because I know there's nearby a railroad that dumps off and drops off different shit. And I know there's one of the Amtrak lines that goes to Union Station in Portland that cuts through over here. So, I mean, there's, you know, it's not like, you know, rail lines don't, but I mean, I imagine with like the different sectors of the different lines, you know, of where you're at and shit, you know, probably all vary and stuff. So like once you get more deeper into denser areas and shit, like the, you know, regulations on everything are more stricter and shit. Because if you just got like a flat straight line of a railroad going down, you know, so you're like cutting through like the Midwest area, I'm pretty sure, you know, it's just kind of smooth sailing type of shit. Obviously don't want to go too fast, I imagine, but you know. This info is specific to what U.S. mainlines are supposed to implement, PTC and System Information FRA. Huh. I imagine this is probably what, you know, it is. I don't know what, like, rail would be kind of skirting this. Positive train control is processor-based communication-based train control system designed to prevent train accidents. PTC be voluntary development following requirements of Title 49 Code of Federal Regulations, Part 236, Subpart, yeah, okay. Oh my god. Tech is capable of automatically controlling train speeds, movements, should a train operator fail to take appropriate action for the conditions at hand. For example, PTC can force a train to stop before passing the signal, displaying a stop indication, before conversion and switch. Okay. The technology for light rail metros in the U.S. is less standardized and a lot of different options in the U.S. So cool, really. So, in a sense, like, a lot of the more, like, logistical aspects of our railroad systems are more regulated in that sense and more standardized, but more commercial / like pedestrian train, like, you know, transport's a little different. That's kind of interesting. Here, okay, let me go back to a more perfect video, because I actually want to check out that Chipotle stuff too. Pull that up here in a second. Because actually, kind of, I'm alright with Chipotle, but low key though. Unionized already, damn it. I don't know if they've been successful or not, because I think the video is about like 2 weeks old. So, I mean, I imagine they're still, you know, hitting the fight with it, which is good. Like, Strippers United, Starbucks. I mean, honestly, there needs to just be like a broader, like, kind of AFL-style national labor organization that just basically umbrellas a lot of these different up-and-coming unions that are coming about, from like Starbucks United to Trader Joe's United and shit like that. Because I think it will help be able to, you know, bolster a lot of their own funds and not just support each other, but also be able to support other up-and-coming units that are, you know, trying to get their name out there and shit. Like this Chipotle one, you know, which eventually, like a lot of these up-and-coming ones outside of Chipotle are going to be, there's going to be a lot more of them too. Like, you know, the gaming development industry, you know, and like a lot of like computer IT tech industries as well, to a degree. You know, likely a lot of different, you know, Amazon warehouses are going to be hit again, you know, with a lot of these unionization efforts. Because honestly, from what I've been hearing about, there isn't really much on that front. So at least for now, it seems like Amazon's kind of has an upper hand with that shit. But what do you think? Having, you know, a good card up your sleeve for you now is going to do anything good for you? Card only lasts as good as, you know, the cards that are on the field. And if you got different cards that, you know, change up that play a little bit, that card ain't gonna be worth shit now, ain't it? I mean, I guess it probably could. And, oh my god, I'm good. You know, I know my own boy has, where do you put it? Man, the one time I actually wanted to grab the thing that he had over here, he doesn't have it over here. God damn it. I'm trying to get myself a lighter. Ugh. I'll have to struggle further. I'll have to keep struggling with this damn thing. Anyway. Boop.
To that restaurant in January after being gone for 2 years, I wanted to cry. It was an immediate, my heart just dropped. Nothing in that restaurant looked like it had been taken care of, including the crew.
Augusta, Maine are attempting to form the company's first union.
I started noticing the issues in Chipotle pretty much right from the bat.
I started noticing issues pretty much day one.
Wow, I love how, yeah, I wonder how many times I've heard that before. Not just with Chipotle, by the way.
That we run with not quite the number of people that we should run with.
If there aren't enough people to run the store, we have to cut corners.
Yeah. Oh, you know, I know that. Now, feel you there. Feel you there.
Customers coming in and they're upset. Why are you so slow? Why is the food not right? The dangers of not being able to have an...
Oh my god, this is too relatable. Holy fuck. Oh my god, this has hit me a little too close to home. I'm not in Chipotle, but being in a deli environment, I mean, frankly, some of the shit isn't exactly too far away from what I do to a degree. And oh my god. Holy shit, a lot of these things are way too real for me. Holy shit.
Are a lot of shortcuts that
I can't even imagine, honestly, like, like, what a non-unionized, like, Chipotle style, or, like, you know, some store that has a deli like I do, or some shit, you know, type workplace, because I can imagine it's just way fucking worse. Let's speak to manager. Oh, yeah, that shit happens probably a lot.
had people working injured.
Oh, 653 million. Wow, shocker.
Companies with magnificent sales and earnings, like Chipotle.
Melissa Chipotle out with beef.
Let's put it. Oh my god, can we just, like...
Magnificent sales and earnings, like Chipotle.
Ugh. I am interested with companies of magnificent sales and earnings. Like Chipotle. Oh my god, what a slimy, smarmy little fuck, dude. I hate these, like... It's always like CNN Business or Fox Business, but like the hosts of these like business section of these like news shows are just the most slimiest, just scummiest, like tapeworm looking amoebas to ever exist.
Beats on the top and bottom lines for Q1. Same-store sales also up 9%.
Chipotle shares sizzled in early trading Wednesday, jumping more than 10% to a record high.
You know, look, I think our secret weapon is our people and our culture.
It's the people in our culture that we're able to literally just like grind down into nothing but a pulp, and then use them as a nice, good chicken meat that we sell it to our customers. Because the culture at Chipotle is to make sure that we literally grind you down to nothing but a stub. Just a broken down human being that just doesn't want to work and cry at this point, and basically just doesn't want nothing more but, you know, just to snap and go Rambo on people like me. But anyway, yes, that is the great culture of Chipotle. And he makes over 1,000 times the average worker, so wow, nice.
Injuries and exhaustion in the crew.
When we're operating at half crew or even a third of the crew, a lot of the people have to work double time at extra jobs. We end up getting ourselves spread thin, and like a candle burning at both ends, it burns out pretty fast.
Yeah.
Everyone was overworked, everyone was burnt out, and everyone was doing the job of at least 2 full people.
We had complaints.
Yep, know that feeling.
In all of the appropriate ways, and it was time for us to say, we can't keep doing this.
If we weren't going to meet the minimum mandatory amount of people in order to work the job properly and effectively, we weren't going to open up the shop at all.
We weren't troublemakers. We were just asking to be cared for better.
But no, you're just a bunch of rabble-rouser, lazy, degenerate, you know, troublemakers that just want, you know, to just have everything hand-fed to you, you lazy son of a bitch. Why don't you just work harder? Don't be such a, like, a, you know, rabble-rousy little anarchist troublemaker now. Why don't you just, like, you know, just obey the law? Why do you have to, like, you know, like, affect the business, you know, and affect, you know, the proper, you know, merits of everybody else? Because, you know, you're just not getting your fair share.
Most of it was just them walking in.
Says like every conservative.
Questions.
So far has been a lot of...
I could just make the food at home. You didn't do it. Yeah, no, for real. Like, honestly, luckily, most people don't, you know, say shit like that. But, oh my god, whenever people do, I'm like, well, alright. Why aren't you then? I mean, it's just like, if you, you know, I mean... Is it just because you don't want to? I mean, sorry, but, like, shit. Like, I mean, fuck. You see we're understaffed and all these other problems. I mean, like, can't all revolve around the fact that you don't want to cook. Because, yeah, like, you and literally everybody else, you ain't special. So if you really are going to bitch about it, then go do it then. Go make your own stuff.
Signing paperwork and acknowledging our responsibilities.
But no.
That literally is just showing up as a square for me. I don't know what emote you used. No.
Promises were made.
We still don't have the right training. We just want to be able to
So these people are thrown to the wolves after, like, they're getting their computerized training, which doesn't tell them fucking anything? Wow, that sounds pretty familiar, too. I'm paying it, because I'm paying them to do it, they're paying them more. I think it's a seal. A seal? Alright. Workers now forming a union to ensure the company's promises are kept.
We're asking for the bare minimum that Chipotle itself should be providing to begin with. Training and staffing your own restaurant is pretty par for the course.
You drinking cider, boys?
It benefits
About to
us,
crack open a White Claw.
but also it benefits Chipotle and the customers too. When we realized
Put on fake mustache and bad French accent. You're speaking to him.
that we could all stand up together and say, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. You can't, run us around like this anymore. They listened. They deployed. This is the power of being a collective.
This little tiny Chipotle in Maine managed to make national news, and hopefully what we did can inspire people from all walks of life and from all sorts of companies to know that if you don't feel like you're being treated right by your company, you can do stuff about it. You
True and based.
absolutely have a voice, you absolutely have power, and you should use it.
I mean, these are just only 4 of, probably a bunch of different workers, at that little Chipotle, but, I mean, I imagine these are probably mostly, like, the head organizers of, trying to formulate their union at this Chipotle. But, I mean, this is how it always starts with, when it comes to labor movements. It's just like, it always starts a fun little place. I mean, it's like, the Staten Island warehouse in Amazon was, the first step with that. I mean, this is the first step with Chipotle, and first step with Trader Joe's was in Massachusetts. Which actually I want to try to find that article about that, because I know I sent that to my group chat on Telegram, so here, let me try to find that. Because that, too, is some good shit. Where'd it go? Yeah, here we are, yeah. In Hadley, Massachusetts. Yeah. Here. Oh, so that's right here. Boom. Trader Joe's Hadley became the first unionized, there we go. Trader Joe's location ever. The 50 years historic, but not a surprise. Since the moment we announced our campaign, the majority of the crew have enthusiastically support our union, and despite the company's best efforts to bust us, the majority of us never wavered. We are incredibly proud of the work we have done together to win this union election, but winning is just the beginning. We now begin the difficult work of sitting down at the negotiating table as equals with our employer and securing a contract that will benefit and protect us, the crew, and set the company's bottom line. There's no Trader Joe's without the crew. We must embrace this challenge head-on together and negotiate a contract that reflects the values of Trader Joe's as long claimed to espouse. The contract will not just benefit us. We believe that our union, by improving our store in every store across the country, will strengthen Trader Joe's as a whole and will help the company return its core values. The first of which is integrity. But for tonight, we celebrate. Tomorrow and every day after that, we'll be ready to sit down and negotiate. Trader Joe's, are you ready to join us? Trader Joe's United. Look at this little logo. That's like a box cutter, for its little logo and shit. That's pretty based. It's like, yeah, it's a utility, but hey, we got the blade if you fuck with us, a little bit. I kind of like that. It's like, it's a very, casual, like, common work, utility when it comes to, working, somewhere like a grocery store and shit, but at the same time, it's like, fuck with us and get the cut. Which companies like this, they'll usually have a bunch of stores in small areas, and they'll hear about people trying to organize one location and shut down with very little loss. Yeah. That's why it needs to become more and more of a spread. Because, the more and more shops and stores and locations that are unionized, whether it's Trader Joe's or Chipotle or whatever have you, it makes it a little bit harder of an incentive to be like, yeah, let's just cut into that. Yeah, let's just kind of cut our loss and just, shut like 40 stores down. It's a lot harder to just do that versus like 2 or 3. It's easier to just, cut 2 or 3 off. Because of excuses like not enough profit or not enough productivity out of the workplace there or whatever the fuck. And then, or like a high crime rate or whatever the hell. and then just open it up just like a little bit down the road or something. You know, just like 6 months later or some shit. Which is a very common tactic. Like Walmart did that. There was like a Walmart that for a tiny moment was unionized. I forgot where. But basically Walmart shut that Walmart down, and like within months opened up another one literally just a few blocks down the road. So they essentially shut down the entire thing, busted a union entirely, and then just reopened the store just a couple blocks down by buying another property after selling that one. So it's just like, I mean, it's a common tactic that a lot of companies will do, especially if it only really goes so far, like only, like, you know, 3 or 4 different stores or warehouses or whatever. If if that momentum keeps up, and like with Starbucks, where it's like over 100 of them now, Starbucks can't just be like, yeah, let's just close 100 of our workplaces down. Yeah, it's like, they're going to lose a lot of fucking money doing that, because the momentum was just too fucking strong. So, I mean, it's kind of, the whole idea. It's not just, to get started, but also to have that ball roll and just keep pushing. Which, as much as it was kind of a quiet roll, Starbucks was able, with a lot of the Starbucks United and with their union, they were able to, like, it was within like a year, it was like at, from 1, to 120, within a year's time, got unionized. Big companies on them already own a bunch of land and strip malls and shit, and they can move stores up to. Oh yeah, exactly. Because because that's the whole cost-benefit analysis to them. It's a lot easier, to just do that, when it comes to the cost of everything, with the benefit that comes in the long run, with the profits, versus just, leaving the unionized shop open, even though that would, be just the same when it comes to the profit margins. They just don't want the momentum. Because if it stays there, then that eventually is going to start growing, even if it's a slow burn. That's why, especially when it comes to these, that's why, like with a lot of these newer up-and-coming unions, especially the Starbucks one, like they should start, pulling some of their money together to form a national, similar to like the AFL-CIO. So then they can really help and be able to put more money into a lot of these up-and-coming unions, like with Chipotle or like Trader Joe's, and be able to help, continue and boost their momentum a little bit. Because that's kind of the whole point of, like, really fundamentally what, like, a lot of organizations like the AFL-CIO are about, is essentially help, put money in funds and pool, for a lot of these more bigger national unions, like the USCW or, the ones with, like, the, public workers, like the teachers and shit. Please, you have like one flame left in you, you son of a bitch. Come on. Come on. Do you have a spare lighter? Like a full-on spare one. Oh, okay. Yay! Mine just start running out now, so I'm just like, damn. Yay! I'm happy now. I can replace it tomorrow. A brand new lighter in my pocket. I needed it teleported. I know, dude. For real. Beat me down a lighter, Scotty there. Aye. I'm going with the podcast, just, teleport that up to the Enterprise and then beam it down to me. Aye. We'll make it work. Don't you be doing that same little shit to me, lighter. Don't be doing that. Oh, you know what? There's actually like an Earth thing I want to find. I know I had like a thumbnail of it, or like a pic of it, but where's the, oh, here it is. Right here. Check this. So 2,500 Boeing workers are set to strike. Workers at 3 St. Louis area plants rejected contract offer on Sunday. Well, the 2,500 Boeing workers are set to go on strike next month after voting down a unit contract on Sunday. Workers at 3 St. Louis area plants will begin to strike on August 1st after rejecting an offer that insufficiently compensated workers through its retirement plan. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, or the IMMAW, told ABC News. Yeah, because I started smoking cigarettes again. Damn. Sham. But the contract included 2 per hour increase to the base wage for all employees, which equates to an average of 7.2% wage hike. Boeing said workers at the 3 St. Louis facilities make an average of $29.42 an hour. The contract will also have improved the pace at which the workers move up the wage scale. And the deal would include a $3,000 cash bonus for each worker if it had been ratified by Sunday.
At least you didn't walk up the Wilderness Trail for hours, sit down just like, oh, this would be a good time to have a smoke and smoke a bowl. And drop your lighter on a rock slide.
Oh, and then have it just like...
Ping, ping, ping. Just like, oh, I could just almost reach it. Oh, I could touch it.
And then it falls further.
Oh! Okay,
no!
We're going back. Screw fishing in the lake. We're going back to the car.
Damn.
Have some cruise. Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, dude, that would. Damn, that doesn't sound too bad. I'm not a fucking aerospace engineer. Dude, for real, man.
When you're hiking, carry your spare lighter.
True. 2014.
Oh, come on. I want to pet you.
In 2014, Boeing stopped offering a traditional pension plan for the new hires, replacing it with a 401k that fails to adequately compensate workers. Jody, the chief of staff of the IMMAW Aerospace Department, told. I cannot accept a contract that is not fair and equitable. This company continues to make billions of dollars each year off the backs of our hard-working members. Boeing previously, well, yeah, of course they do. Boeing previously took away a pension from our members, and now the company is unwilling to adequately compensate our members for it. So a part of it is, they're trying to take their pensions away. Will not allow this company to be put our members' hard-earned retirements in jeopardy. A 401k plan offered to the contract features $1 for $1 company match on 10% of workers' pay. Plus, for the remainder of this year, the company will automatically put an amount equivalent to 4% of workers' pay in the 401k. That automatic 401k investment from the company drops 2% in 2023 and 2024 and is eliminated after 2024. This is about to take away. We can't recommend a takeaway. In a statement, Boeing lamented that the unions lamented the union's contract. It's like, ugh. We are very disappointed with Sunday's vote to reject a strong, highly competitive offer. We are activating our contingency plan to support continually the operations in the event of a strike. So, hire scabs, strike busting, and, so on and so forth. Yeah, typical shit. Laminated. Yeah, I don't know why I said laminated at first. Lamented. It laminated. I'm a little buzzed. Cut me slack. Boeing reported a loss of $1.2 billion in the first quarter of this year. The company brought in $62.2 billion revenue in 2021. Oh wow! So you lost like 1.2. So you have like 61 billion of your profits still from last year. Get fucked. After resurgence of sales of its 737 MAX, which was grounded in 2019 after 2 crashes, yeah. Because Boeing decided to skirt lines and cut corners. The Federal Aviation Agency lifted the grounding order in November 2020. In Wednesday, the company will release earnings results of the second quarter. While it may take Boeing's name that goes on those airplanes, it's these people that do the work to make those planes. True. Like, Boeing wouldn't have the planes that they do if it wasn't for workers that actually build them. And there's a lot of, like, work that goes into building that shit. Like, I mean, if you've seen, like, those videos that, you know, show a plane being made, you know, with all the workers doing their shit and stuff, it's just like, I mean, it's pretty intense, crazy, cool looking shit, honestly. I'm not even gonna lie. Per in a contract, they could laminate it. Yeah, they could. Yeah, I guess. You know, make sure it doesn't get all dirty and shit, you know. But yeah, they lamented the fact that, oh, they rejected our offer. Even though it cuts a lot of the pensions, oh, they reject our fair offer. How dare they? We lament the fact that they rejected this. Oh. The audacity. It's like, good fucking lord. I mean, it's like, this is why, you know, like, even if, like, you know, a job tends to have pretty decent, you know, conditions or wages or pay and shit, like, it's, you know, like, because I imagine even if, like, there's an aerospace company that didn't have a unionization, because I'm sure there are, like, at least in the U.S., yeah, but, you know, with that, it's like, I mean, I'm sure, like, when it comes to the pay and the benefits and stuff, they aren't bad, but the whole fact for fucking you is to make sure that shit's guaranteed. And you actually get even more and better, you know, with that, especially considering the fucking profits that, you know, are made in those type of industries. So it's just like, you know, whenever there happens to be profit losses or shit like that, they want to, you know, find excuses to try to cut benefits, pensions, your wages, hours, whatever the fuck. And the whole point of the union is to basically ensure and guarantee the protection of that type of shit. Even doesn't necessarily seem like it's needed for a specific type of industry or workplace. I mean, there's a reason why they exist even, you know, with that in mind. It's to protect it and make sure that stays there. And if anything, to get stronger over time. But, so I mean, even in that circumstance, people don't necessarily get it. It's just like, well, no, I mean, it's like, not my workplace. Our company wouldn't do that. Cut to, like, a year or two later when they do that. Yeah, I'm just kind of seeing what other random little things that could be kind of tubing it out. Oh, it's actually another more perfect video. Oh, it's Frank. Fuck. I mean, honestly, they have a lot of bangers, do they? Why, GameStop workers hate their jobs. I mean, honestly, I've knew about that even before fucking, whatever's about, you know, whatever would be in that video. Because I've heard of, like, you know, people who used to work at GameStops, because before I got a job at where I worked at, I was actually legitimately, you know, considering maybe working there, just because I was a gamer bro and stuff like that, you know, and after high school, I was like, oh, that would basically, you know, fit in with what I want, you know, so I would basically just be like, you know, oh, this will fit, you know, Look, I honestly think fuck I didn't, because even after the fact of where I worked at, you know, there was every now and then either, not really my department, but there would be like people at my workplace that would be working other the jobs at the place, at the store, that, you know, would used to work there and be like, no, it fucking sucked. It's actually legitimately shit. Because, if I remember correctly, I think a part of how they get paid is legitimately like commission sales. So it's just like they have to basically try to make as much sales as possible, and that's a part of how they get paid. Like, so they get like their base, but like what really makes their money is selling games to people. Which obviously, especially for the wages that they probably get, probably isn't an incentive to be like, hi, would you want to buy this or this or this, blah, 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 you know? It's just like, I don't give enough fuck to be doing that. Every time I've been in a GameStop, I've never had anyone ever come up to me about shit like that. I've always come up to the counter once I get my stuff. There, they might start offering me maybe like a little deal or something like that. After that, I'd be like, oh, we got like a little deal going on. If you want to buy like one more, it's like blah 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 off or something like that. And every now and then I might be like, yeah, I don't know, fuck it. But sometimes it'd be like, nah. Spin on the mood, I guess. Sleeper has awakened. Well. Wow. Ho. How dare you? Alright. I actually want to see about this little GameStop stuff. Talon's off his way in the chat. Yeah. Well, I was coming back later. He was hanging out with me last stream and shit. I was gonna get some party favors and talk about some, some labor and shit like that today. Or at least for tonight, I should say.
Could be to anybody that's looking to work at GameStop would be like, just be careful. It's not what you're thinking it's gonna be.
GameStop has been in the news.
That, honestly, dude, she almost... Like, I've heard pretty much the exact verbatim fucking shit to me. Be careful, because it ain't like what you think it is. I pretty much have gotten that same exact shit right there. I had the weirdest stream. Do I even want to know?
Surging 51% today, up 133%, and actually touched $500 a share. GameStop.
Oh yeah, the fucking oh yeah, this is when like the fucking Wall Street Bets, did their meme.
Stock craze generated massive windfalls for GameStop,
raising $1.1 billion in its latest share offering.
But workers say the financial success on Wall Street isn't doing anything for them.
Yeah, we really don't see much of it. The pay that I was earning was very poor. Every other workplace I went to inquiring a job told me you are getting scammed, you're getting cheated of.
The upper management made it.
Damn. When other companies that are likely cheating and fucking you over to some way, shape, or form as well are telling you that, you're getting fucked.
GameStop CEO makes 1,355 times as much as the average.
Oh my god, what is with all these CEOs that just make well over 1,000 times more than the average worker? What is with that? Oh, weird. I wonder what that's about. Because the Chipotle guy made over, 111 something times more than their workers and shit, and this guy's making, 1,300 more. I wonder why that is. Oh, I wonder if there's a correlation to that. Weird.
Of GameStop workers make less than $15 an hour.
So when I first started, I was a guest advisor, which makes $9 an hour.
Doing the math,
$9?
My rateage, honestly, I couldn't give you a solid answer what it initially is. It fluctuates somewhere between 10 to 11 to even lower than that.
Outgoing CEO George Sherman walked away in 2021 with more than $171 million, mostly in stock options. All told, GameStop paid out $362 million to its outgoing CEO, CFO, CCO, CMO, and COO. That means GameStop spent more on golden parachutes for 5 executives than it did on wages for over 12,000 part-time employees.
Bruh. This is why, in the gaming industry, gamers rise up. Gamers, rise up. We need a union. Gamers need one. Shit, come on now. We can get the gamers on board. Yeah, there's a lot of weird, right-wing dorkaforks, and shit like that. I don't know what that means, dorkaforks, but whatever. But it's just gamers, we gotta rise up. We can't allow this. Because, even though, yeah, Kobe was saying, it's kind of an obsolete business, but... but frankly, it's just hey, for the gamers that are out there trying to, for the dudes who are still going into, in-store shops and shit like that, like a GameStop, it's we gotta respect our gamers on the ground, because they're also selling us shit too. Not all of us are just, sitting in our basements. Sometimes we're in the GameStops or in the Chipotles. Some of us are out there. Gamers rise up, bro. This is what gamers rise up should mean. It's rise up to get our unions going for gaming developments an EA and shit and Rockstar and fucking more hard brick and mortar stores fucking GameStop and shit. This is what gamers rise up should be about. Even then, doesn't Walmart sell the same shit? Pretty much. Though I know at GameStops they also have like other things there too besides just video games. So I mean, maybe Walmart doesn't have everything a GameStop does. I've been to GameStop since I lived in Wisconsin, and that was like 6 or 7 years ago. I haven't been to one in a long fucking time. I think the last time was probably the same amount of time, honestly, like 6 or 7 years ago.
It's like GameStop, you know, their executive made millions and millions of dollars. Do you think they value their workers at GameStop?
I don't think so. I think we're just seen as expendable.
Employees in retail stores are speaking out about their experiences working at GameStops across the country. Elizabeth was employed at a GameStop in Massachusetts, Kyle at a store in Nebraska. They say they've witnessed the same pattern of abuse from managers and unrealistic sales goals as other workers.
You know, honestly, this sounds similar to a family friend that used to work at a Payless, and she actually used to be a manager, or I think an assistant manager at one of them. And she basically, one of the reasons why she quit was because there were starting to be understaffing issues and also very hyper unrealistic sales goals that were fucking basically mandated. And it's like, if you don't make this, you get fucking pay cuts, and you get like, you know, other cuts and, you know, and like benefits and shit like that. Like where they would hella fuck you over and shit. Like, I mean, and that's just like a fucking shoe store, you know, so honestly, it doesn't even, like, it's so weird, like, a lot of these different businesses also have very, pretty much, like, identical business practices. Did Payless go out of business? I think so. I haven't seen one in fucking forever, so I think, yeah, they might have gone out of business at this point, but, yeah, so I guess it shows you how long ago it was, but, yeah, I mean, because this was probably about, like, I don't know, maybe about, like, 8 some years ago now at this point, when with that shit, you know, but honestly longer than that, because I remember the family friend I'm talking about, she worked there for quite a long time and shit. And you know, and it basically, you know, at least from my understood, she initially actually loved it, but when she got up and was promoted and was basically realizing how much of a mandate corporate was pushing and shit, she realized how fucked it really was. And eventually got out of it. The movie gallery exists for you, or is it just a Blockbuster up there? Blockbusters. GameStop sales batteries hella cheap last time I checked. Well, I mean, if you need AA batteries for, like, your Xbox controller, yeah, you're gonna get some cheap. Yeah. GameStop is smart doing that. I think the problem was that there were $20 shoes that last a month, and when you spend $60 to $80 and get shoes that'll last a year or two. Yeah, and honestly, and frankly for me, I'd rather, like, I would get boots, so it's more like maybe 40 to 50 bucks, and it would be the same shit. You know, and also do not get fucking shoes at Ross. Same problem. And honestly, I just get my boots at Sportsman's now, and I just recently got the ones I got now, but the ones I had before these lasted me a year and a half. Before they were just unwearable. So these ones, I mean, you know, I've had them for about, like, maybe a month or so now. And they're hella comfy, pretty nice, pretty decent, you know, probably gonna last me at least, you know, a good full year plus. They should last longer than that, though. I remember when I turned 18, I wanted to work in a movie gallery, but I was talked out because they paid you on commission per movie you sold. Yep, I think Blockbuster was the same way. If I ever get Advanced for skate shoes and Doc Martens for work. Yeah, I get Danners. At least for boots, because actually, they're at least when it comes to the manufacturers that produce Danners, they're unionized with my union, with the United Food and Commercial Workers, which I'm just like, oh shit, okay, that's dope. So, it's one of my ways of supporting unions is buying, you know, some Danners and stuff, because Danner boots and shit like that are, well, they're union made. So, fun little tip if you're getting boots, if you want to support unions too. Get some Danners. And plus, they're legitimately really good quality and actually really nicely well made in their company. So they're actually, all in all, a pretty good boot too. And it lasted a year. Well, that's surprising, because if I get Ross shoes or boots, they literally last like 6 months max. And it's horrible. I just got doxxed because one of my homies worked for the company a while ago and got like 50% off, so I got a few pairs. That's a good reason to have some. I respect that. That's some good shit right there. That's the reason why, you know, I got a lot of boots at Sportsman's, is because my friend used to work there and he got like hella discounts with that shit. I don't think sportsmen's is unionized, but they do get pretty decent benefits, but really bad pay. Like, their wages are not good. Which is why they kind of need a union. So they can get better pay and get the good benefits that they have and make sure those are solidified and kept. And codified, at least within a contract. So, that would be a good idea for them. Because honestly, if they had better pay with the benefits they do have concurrently, it actually would be a pretty decent job. Like, I mean, yeah, I would probably work as sportsman if they offered like 18 an hour or something. But they don't. They offer like less, I think about like $14.50 or some shit. Like, even less than I'm making now. It's like, fuck that. I'm sure it varies on department to department, but I don't know what shoe brand, so I can't tell you what brand it is exactly. I bought some $100 shoes, so I'm hoping to last a year. Well, I mean, if you see, I mean, the shoe brand will probably be on the shoe itself. Because with my boots, they have it on here. They have it right on the tongue of the shoe. I just have to kind of... Oh, I don't even have to do that, yeah. Here. I just have to do this real quick. Just untie the first bit. Here, I can show you. Oh, wait, here, let me do this real quick. I didn't. Bop. At least for my boots. Oh. Yeah, boy. Boom. That's at least where the logo is on these boots right there. And these are pretty good quality boots, I do tell you what. Ugh. Good quality shit. I like them. Puma. Pumas aren't bad. I bet anyone with like a boot or a foot fetish is just like, oh goddamn, you put your foot right there. You put your boot right there. Oh my goodness. It's the closest we're ever gonna see Ignar's feet. Oh! Some fucking weirdo is probably thinking that right now somewhere out there. This closest we ever see of his feet, oh my goodness. But anyway, here. Let's get back to the let's get back to the video here. Guy got hella stunt locked there for a second.
One of us working 9 to 6, one of us working 10 to 7, and one of us working 6 to close every single day. None of us had days off. It had gone like a month that way. I wasn't even able to get the weekend of my grandfather's funeral off.
Before I left, we had...
Jesus. I mean, I'm pretty sure having no days off is actually fucking illegal. Like, on, like, actually, like, on a literal federal level. Like, I think that's literally illegal. Like, on a federal level, on whatever state level, on, like, all the levels, I'm pretty sure that is illegal. Like, I think, you know, by law, you're supposed to have, you know, some days off. Or at least, you know, like, one day off, you know, by law or some shit. Like, I mean... Bruh, like, fucking GameStop is, like, somehow, like, dude, how are they, like, at least when it comes to work conditions, just as, if not even somehow worse than fucking Amazon, at least when it comes to business practice. I mean, physical work conditions are, you know, obviously not even close. You know, Amazon's worse. In America, there's 0 mandated time off. Are you fucking kidding me? There's not even, like, a required 1 day off. So, companies, so it is, oh my. In Oregon, you're required by law to have 1 day off. At least. Like, you can work a 6-day, you know, but, like, it's basically mandated overtime regardless if you work that day then. It's like a 6-day overtime pay law, I think. So, it's just like, I mean, if they're, I mean, it's like, honestly... You know, if that has to be the case, or people have to, like, have no days off, there needs to be that type of overtime pay, where it's like you get 6-day, 7-day overtime pay. I mean, that has to be the fucking case. That has to be either, you know, either 1 day, you know, 1 day of the week mandated by law time off, or you get, you know, overtime pay like 1.5 for a 6-day, and then like 3.5 for 7 days. And yes, that big of a bump. I didn't slip. This is corporate healthcare country. Of course, they want you to work till you drop. Well, of course. And if you don't drop, they want you to die quick when you have medical debt. And will deny you fucking healthcare and shit like that because of pre-existing conditions or shit like that. Because that's how the fucking insurance companies fucking get you.
To come out of the ceiling and fall. And we were just holding up with measly tapes of duct tape.
The goals were with how many warranties we sold with respect to like the consoles and the controllers that we sold, as well as how many people purchased our Power Up Rewards memberships.
It's become the bread and butter of the store. It's like I've been told so many times, I don't care what you sell in the store, if you're not selling a warranty or a pro membership by the end of the day, then that not only reflects on you, but it reflects on us. Our supervisor said, let's do anything by means to ensure that these people get their warranties and such. So we would have to white lie or stretch the truth about warranties. Either saying that they're a different price, like say game warranty is $3.99, we'd either say it's free or $2. And I would say, guys, I don't feel good lying to these guys because basically we're taking their money for something they didn't even ask for. But any means necessary, we had to make a sale.
You could call it
that is just some Machiavellian shit, dude. That is just some Machiavellian shit, bro. Oh my god. Like, holy shit. It's like, hey, by any means necessary, we need warranties, we need, like, controllers to console sold, so, yeah. By any means necessary. By any means necessary. It's like suddenly the demon just unleashes out from them. It's like, it's like, oh god. Pulls out a guy. It's like, you're gonna buy a warranty, aren't you, motherfucker? It's like, god, it's like, I mean, and then you got the corporate manager just like, wait, not like that. It's like, you said by any means necessary. I mean, you knew I concealed carried. I mean, what the fuck did you want? It's like, I mean, it's like by any means necessary, though. It's just like, what the fuck? I mean, that just kind of makes me think, like, I mean, how many times are people going into, like, a GameStop or some shit, which probably isn't really that many people these days, and are basically getting, like, a warranty they didn't even ask for that's in the charge of their fucking game, and they don't even realize it. I mean, it's just like, I mean, honestly, that's just straight some fucked Machiavellian shit right there. It's like, oh, you know what, I bet they you know, hide it in some way, where they have, like, a, quote, discount sale for, like, a game, so that goes down on their total, but they have that surcharge, you know, that kind of is actually a part of that. So I bet it's some crazy weird shit like that or something, where it's like they have like a discount thing that's about the price of that, where it takes the game down, because obviously who gives a fuck what you're selling as long as they're putting warranties and shit. So they just use the discount as a way to bump the warranty costs, you know, with the discount sale instead. So they basically just use the discount sale price as the warranty price, you know, for the game, and just make it the game full price instead of like $3.99 off or some shit. You know, so you're just getting full price of the game. Makes, you know, so it's like a little white lie. It's like, hey, you got a game on sale, but in order for it to be on sale, you have to get the warranty. Some shit like that, basically. Which at that point, it's like you're just, you know, you're getting like a $3 off, you know, discount, but you're paying the fucking fee. The only gun I have is the gun nature gave me between my legs, boy. Is that right? Yeah, honestly, I don't know anymore if this son of a bitch, man. Venom is always like this. Last time I went to GameStop was probably not, but I don't play video games, so I can't really say how many people go there. I mean, I haven't been there in years, so I couldn't tell you either.
Just at literally any moment. Like, I got calls from him at 3 o'clock in the morning. He would only call us to yell at us.
It honestly...
Wait, you get called... Wait, who get... Why? Oh my god. If I got calls from my manager at 3 in the morning, I literally would not even give a fuck. I would not even respond. I would just let it ring. And if I start seeing text messages, I would just wait until, like, around the time I normally wake up and be like, bro, why'd you explode my phone when I'm obviously asleep? Like, Bruh, that is just some fucking... Dude, what are... Dude, are these like... Do they get like the psychopathic, like, you know, I'm gonna stab you in your sleep if you cheat on me, like boyfriend/girlfriend, you know, for a manager or corporate higher-up? Because, oh my fucking god. Like, is that like a requirement for being a GameStop manager or something? Because holy shit, that is disturbing, actually. Like, I would not, I don't, even with my current department manager, I don't even really care for what reason, unless she's just for some reason drunk texting for some fucking reason or another, which I highly doubt that would even happen. But, like, for any fucking reason, if my manager decided to text me or call me at 3 in the morning, like, no, why are you doing that? I would literally ask all the questions in the world. Like, what were you doing? Why are you doing? What? Well, what do you want from me? It's like, what do you want from me possibly at 3 in the morning? Besides just to, I guess for these people at GameStop to yell at them. Because I guess they didn't work, you know, hard enough, you know, yesterday on their last shift. It's like, hey, what the fuck was the sales aren't, you know, doing shit, blah, 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 blah. While they're out at, like, a bar at 3 in the morning, you know, sipping a fucking Bushi margarita or some shit. And it's like, because nobody wanted any sales. Like, look, I'm literally sleeping I don't give a fuck you're sleeping. I want to understand why you did not get a warranty sale on today. It's like, I'm literally sleeping. Boop. And then you just get bombarded afterwards. Like, you just mute it, put it on silent, literally turn the phone off and be like, chuck it across the room, bury your head in pillows, and just like, fuck you. Because that would just basically be me in a nutshell. If and at that point, I frankly would be like, you know what? I'm not coming to work tomorrow. I quit. Like, that would be me. I'll be like, you know what? Fuck you. You're yelling at me at 3 in the morning over me not getting, you know, the proper sales the day before, like, you know, for my week. GameStop only hires fired cops now. Fired cops. Fired cops. Yeah, like, corporate higher-ups and managers and executives for GameStop are basically just fired cops and, you know, failed mall cops. Goldie depends if I find you cute. For example, I think Ignore is cute. Well, the thing is, I at least consent with his nonsense because, I mean, I'm a bisexual freak. And he is too, so. I tolerate his nonsense. So, but that's just me. Anyway, enough Stunlock.
I mean, like, emotionally degrading and, like, you're a kid getting your hand caught in a cookie jar.
He would say things like, oh, well, we're gonna hire someone who's 18 to take your place because they'll actually work for us.
Conditions at Kyle's store in Lincoln, Nebraska were so severe that the entire store quit.
One day, he called me and told me our numbers were not any better and that I needed to fire the only 2 employees I had by Friday. And I asked him how he expected me to work with just myself at that location. And he's like, well, you'll figure it out.
Well, you'll figure it out. Hey, look, it's just you and you have to basically run an entire store operation by yourself. Like, you know, in every way, shape, and form. But you can figure it out. You're a robocog for my machine. You know, you can do it.
My worker, Sam, when he came in, like, hey, I do have to fire you by the end of the week. And Sam's like, okay, well, then I'm gonna hand you my keys right now. I'm like, that's fine, I'm handing in my keys right now, too. And we contacted the third person, they dropped their keys off at the store, and we were done.
Good. Good shit. Good on him.
And his wife had jokingly sent him a text that's like, hey, you should write this down on the sign. And then he posted it on the door and we left.
Dear valued GameStop patrons, we regret to inform you that we had all quit. Our district manager does not respect us and believes we are replaceable with freshly graduated high schoolers for half the cost. Please visit or don't our gateway location for all your GameStop needs. Thank you. Based.
We had locked the doors and stepped out of the door. We were just completely relieved.
Similar frustrations caused work.
I would be too. Oh my god, there's actually that shit spread. Damn, there's a lot of them.
Lincoln, Nebraska GameStop just 8 miles away to walk off the job too.
I contacted the person that I had left as their store leader, and they were like, yeah, we took note out of your guys' book, we put up a sign, and we left. And that's...
Damn, they're like, hey, yeah, we saw what you did, we liked it, and agreed.
Say about it, because at that point, it's pretty understandable, but it obviously became
The games inside are free. Yeah, I would have been like, if you happen to look underneath the mat, you might find a discount for sale, for a fire sale. You know what I mean?
Newest CEO, Matt Furlong, says his mission is to
transform a decaying brick-and-mortar retailer into a technology-led organization.
With that technology-oriented vision in mind, GameStop has prioritized something that, at least right now, has absolutely nothing to do with gaming.
Last month's launch of the GameStop Wallet, a digital asset wallet that allows gamers and others to store, send, receive, and use cryptocurrencies and NFTs.
Ow! Oh, God! Did he just say cryptocurrencies and NFTs? Oh, God! Oh, that actually just revolted me. Ugh. It all makes sense now. Dude. Oh my God, now I got words to say about this guy. Makes over $1,300 more than the average worker, wants to scalp him, not respect him. Literally make it into some technology-led fucking crypto NFT scam machine. They are Satan. Yeah, they are literally Satan. Can we just, burn them back to hell like they belong?
GameStop has been struggling for years, seeing $381.3 million in net losses in 2021 and closing 3,000 stores since 2016. Now they're betting on prioritizing blockchain to save them. Even as
a blockchain, dude. Yeah, they're gonna crash.
It's unveiling its
Dude, let GameStop go bankrupt.
NFT marketplace later this year as it transforms its business.
Or God, depending on if you had characters. Well, funny enough, at the beginning of my stream today, I saying, "Don't you pin them on me?" Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, I'm like, hey, yeah, it's actually God. They are God and his heavenly angels, because they're more satanic and demonic than Satan and his shit. I had on a stream where I had some fun with something feminine claimed to be the devil. That sounds awesome. If anything claimed to be the devil, it was like some, masculine or feminine, doesn't really matter. Just like, some sort of, peak sexual preferential being of, some form. Then I'll just be like, yeah, if you're the devil, that's just, extra spice.
NFT marketplace amid decades high inflation could spell slow growth in the coming months.
As one Forbes contributor put it, GameStop is less of a company that sells video games now and more a rallying cry for meme stock enthusiasts, and now Web3 devotees.
Well, I guess that's kind of the downfall, of the whole meme stock, escapades and shit. Because honestly, I mean, it could have gone on a little more. It only happened 2 or 3 times where AMC and GameStop and shit basically to the moon. Doge was one of them, I think, before that. And then Elon basically allowed that shit to literally, after he basically said it was a bunch of bullshit on SNL. When he basically primed everybody to pump it and shit. 7-foot Fuda. I respect. Elon was on SNL. Unfortunately, yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's a horrible show anyway. I mean, it had its day back in it had its, it's honestly, all in all, it had its time. But at this point, it's just nah, fuck that shit. It's just kind of centrist, lib, fucking pseudo progressive, oh yes, we're holier than thou nonsense. I mean, I mean, it's basically where a bunch of the centrist celebrity elite dorkafucks. Why dorkaforks? Why? It's twice I said that. Where they're just all meh. Daily Show, Jon Stewart. Oh yeah, Jon Stewart is way better. Jon Stewart's actually fucking based in like, everything amazing that is with life and humanity. Oh yeah, that's right. Why am I grabbing that lighter? Give me a new one. For Key and Peele or even OG Chappelle show, if I'm gonna watch Scatter's show over SNL. Yeah. I tend to agree with that. Like some more OG Chappelle, Key and Peele for show. Dude, Key and Peele's great, honestly. Wait, what the fuck is this? What? Oh, where'd it go? Anti-abortion man versus abortion rights protesters. No, give me a sec. Chappelle's gone a little off the deep end with the trans stuff. A little bit. I'm not exactly fond of him with that type of shit. I mean, like, I still like a lot of his comedy, because, I mean, he doesn't make all of his current comedy about trans issues and shit, but when he brings it up, he tends to like to be kind of blunt and callous about it. Feels like a lecture to me. A little bit. Like, he's like the, you know, father figure who's trying to be like, hey, now, don't be such a delinquent kid. Like, Leighton Busy was a hilarious bit. That's true. Yeah. I haven't really watched anything lately, you know, from him. I think the last thing I watched from him was probably, like, from, like, 2015 or 16 or some shit. Or, like, maybe 2017, like, around there. At least the last special he made around that time. But beyond that, I haven't really seen anything new of his. Because, frankly, I don't really give that much of a shit. Like, I haven't even really seen his full, like, his trans joke or whatever that got a lot of controversy and shit. Because, I mean, like, at a certain point, I felt like I kind of got enough inference to kind of get what it was about. Because he was basically using one of his deceased trans friends as, like, the punchline of the joke or some shit. Brad Stein, I think. I used to want to be inside Amy Schumer. But then you would literally become one of her, like, joke bits. Because, honestly, she's not exactly, like... I forgot where, but I saw a video where it's just, like, Amy Schumer is actually kind of shitty. And it's not even really because she's, like, you know, some woke lib. In fact, she's not even that. She just uses, like, women's issues and shit like that as, like, a crutch, you know, for her fucking weird, stupid shit. Like, she's actually kind of narcissistic. Fucking will basically... you know, just call anyone who criticizes her fucking really kind of frankly shitty behavior and lack like basically being a one-trick pony. So like a lack of actual creative talent being a comedian, because she basically talks about, you know, her pussy and how much she fucks. Like, that's basically about it. Like, yeah, like, I mean, like Colby's saying, it's like, she's just not funny. Like, when I first heard about her, like, I thought she was for, like, a few weeks, but I was just like, meh, afterwards. But then she would use, like, women's rights or, like, feminism and shit like that as, like, a shield, you know, from any criticism that she got. And it's like, man, bitch, fuck you. It's like, honestly, like, with you kind of deserve a little criticism. Like, she said, like, a horrible fucking joke to Steve-O, too. Like, because Steve-O's friend died of a heroin overdose, and she made a joke basically saying, wish it was you. And, like, they cut to Steve-O, and he went, like, he was kind of laughing for a little bit, and then when she started saying that shit, he went... He, like, actually, like, quit. Like, he actually was like, what the fuck? Like, actually, like, offended a little bit by that. Like, he really quickly changed, like, his reaction to that shit. And I was like, when you get Steve-O to not laugh at a joke and shit that's kind of raunchy and edgy, you know you fucked up. I wonder what George Carlin will say about today's political climate. I don't know, but I'm kind of... I imagine he'd probably be a lot more radical about it than he would be now. The only stand-ups I really find funny are George Carlin, Hicks, and Doug Stanhope. Yeah, all three of them are really great. Especially Hicks and Carlin, for sure. I don't know too much about Doug Stanhope. I have seen some of his stand-up before, but not all of it. So I don't know as much about it. Anyway. I want to see this weird anti-abortion freak. Because I have a feeling this is going to be a gem. Of course it's a tweet. It's a tweet. What is it?
I will, sir.
Film me all you want.
Hey,
you.
Hey! You need to stop, sir.
Like another human.
You should not hit me.
Don't throw me.
You should not hit me.
How many babies do you fucking?
Should you not hit me?
How many babies?
You should not.
How many babies have you killed?
Oh my god.
You killing my little pal?
How many beers have you drank? How many beers have you drank? How many bottles of whiskey did you, like, douse in your gullet? Like, oh my god, dude. Like, wow. What? So you got, like, some old deranged, like, boomer fuck just like, you baby killing sons of bitches. Y'all bunch of baby killers. It's like, oh my god. It's like, shut you fucking loudmouth drunk motherfucker, dude. And apparently it's, like, starting to punch and push people and shit. And it's like, man, if that motherfucker was, like, you know, coming up my ass, dude, it's like, man, did you just be like, bump? It's like, no, get on the ground, shut the fuck up. Like, whine about baby killing somewhere else, you sad sack. I wish he'd put it on full screen, though. I'm not even gonna lie. It's kind of hard to...
Live here. Sir. She lives here. You're a bunch of communist motherfuckers.
You're a bunch of motherfuckers. Yeah, I don't get food to deliver. You're a bunch of baby kill cotton motherfuckers. You're a bunch of cotton motherfuckers. Like, oh my god. This guy is definitely drunk as a skunk, dude. Like, oh my god. Like a motherfucker like this just needs like a good little smackdown. Just straight the fuck up. Just gonna be blunt. He needs a smackdown. Like, honestly, like, I mean, there's just people that don't know, you know, like, have never really have just been like, you know, put down because, you know, they get right up in people's faces, you know, and basically are able to get their way and shit, you know, by getting all the people's, you know, shit, intimidating them or whatever, because no one just had a, you know, idea, just bump, plop them on the ground. Just like one good like swing. It's just like it's like a motherfucker like this just needs that. Just one good old swing. Eat the concrete. You know, it's good for your, you know, with the minerals and nutrition with that shit, and just, you know, and think about your life. It's like you drunk, sad, fucking beer-bellied old coot motherfucker. Y'all both got this.
You kill babies. You kill babies every fucking one.
You need to stop, or you're gonna end up in trouble with the law. People, still, it's illegal to hit people still.
Oh my god. I mean, you wanna know what's not illegal? Self-defense. Hey, if you get assaulted and attacked, you know what isn't what isn't illegal? Self-defense.
Say that. I am not, but they are exercising their First Amendment right to do what they want. Sir, you cannot be involved in that.
You're a bunch of baby-killing motherfuckers.
That's
all
fine,
of you.
but you need to
Thousands of babies have been killed because you motherfuckers think it's okay to kill babies.
Oh my god. Dude, it's across the lands. It's across these lands. Dude, he sounds like some old deranged drunkard that came out of the tavern yelling some nonsense about how the end is nigh. Thousands of babies across the lands have died. They have died miserably from these damn baby killers. And you are just a bunch of communist baby killers. It's like, oh my god, dude. Jesus fucking McFuck Christ, bro. I still wish it was full screen so we could get a real perfect view of this fucking specimen. Is he Scottish? I mean, I don't even know. I don't even fucking know. I'm guessing so. He's just some old white fuck that's just like drunker than a skunk, you know, freaking out about communist baby killers, I guess. Who, frankly, as far as I give a shit, like, he could just, like, you know, be, you know, eating some concrete and, you know, everyone would have a favor, you know, because he would basically shut the fuck up. So that's so confusing as hell, because imagine if this guy come up to you and he's, like, incoherent gibberish. I can't understand your words. Scottish accents just sound like drunk. Yeah, pretty much.
Causing a problem.
Go away. You go away right now. This is my house. This is where I live. This is my home.
He's like, whoa, wait. Okay, no, I'm actually not doing anything wrong. Hold on. You know, I'm actually not doing nothing bad. Okay, like, I didn't realize this is an actual house.
Get away from here now. You need. Whoa, look me in the eyes. Get away from here.
How much longer do you think a nation controlled by guys with this kind of attitude will be able to maintain its global hegemonic power status? Serious question.
Like, oh, now he full screened it.
Because, like, that's not some random fucking dickhead. I mean, he is a random dickhead, but technically, he also is a random dickhead.
An Irish accents just sound like a drunk Scottish person just got punched in the face. Hey, you're talking through the Irish daddy here yourself there, boy.
The people in
but Russia's tongues there,
of power are listening to and also, you know, acting out his desires.
Aye, lad. Boy, lad.
Like dads just like this guy, and all his kids were severely neglected, and like 80 pounds of 14 years old fucking brain cult. Oh yeah.
I guarantee you that's pretty much how his kids turned out, because he's a neglectful, you know, beer drinking, abusive dad. I love that. I love the quality zoom in though. Oh my god, that dude, he doesn't even have scruff on the neck. That's just straight up dirt. Chill out, son. I know though. But dude, like straight up though, this guy actually, like, he does have scruff on his face. Like, he actually has, like, straight, like, dirt, like, going on. Like, that's not scruff of facial hair. That's just straight up, like, monk of some sort. Like, this dude is, like, an alcoholic motherfucker that literally doesn't even tend to himself. He probably just, like, oh my god, bro. Like, I mean, I've seen, like, these, you know, old, begrudged, like, alcoholic boomers before. They're a dime a dozen. And, oh my god, just this quality zoom in, though. I mean, it really just takes the cake, because that's not facial hair at all. That's just, like, just decades of just, like, alcoholic, disgruntled boomerism. Just congealed on, you know, the sides of the face. Oh, I'm hearing bacon.
Right here. Come on.
Let's go to the baby killers. Yes, police, arrest them all. Arrest these baby killers.
Bro, that booger is holding on for dear life, by the way. You gotta respect the structural integrity of this man's nose hairs, okay? Straight up. Like, I certainly do. I mean...
yeah, a little bit.
How the fuck are those boogers still staying on, brother?
Alcohol's a dehydrative, you know, element, you know, when it comes to consumption of things. So, the dehydration also, you know, works in the nose as well. So, I mean, if you're not hydrating yourself and shit, like, I mean, those boogers are going to dehydrate, so they kind of stay, you know, a little bit more crusty, secured in there, you know what I'm saying? So, alcoholism does that to you.
Yeah, you're a bunch of baby killing motherfuckers, I will.
Baby killing motherfuckers!
Let's watch the second.
These kind of people are dangerous because they're old and depressed and full of hate and have nothing to live for and also own guns. Yeah. Which is frankly why, you know, people that, you know, queer folk especially, that have something to live for, that also advocates for women's rights, also tend to own some as well. Because it's just like, I don't, you know... When you got old, depressed, disgruntled, alcoholic, boomer, far-right, psycho-Christian chuckle fucks that basically got nothing else to lose but their weird evangelical death cultism, it's just like, yeah, that doesn't exactly make me feel comfortable with them, especially when they got, you know, like, 10 years worth of ammo, and like, you know, like an army's worth, and like a battalion's worth of ammo and guns and shit. Like, yeah, no thanks.
Chad, I'm neurodivergent. I'm a Leo. I have to have people like me at all times.
He tried to hit several of these people. He did try to hit.
Wait, is he actually getting arrested? Wait. Oh, those hands are behind his back. Wow, he actually is. You know what? Good. Fuck you, bitch. You get in charge of assault. I mean, it's not, you know, eating a nice breakfast sandwich of concrete, but, you know, it's something at least. You're treating him a little too nice there, officer. I literally guarantee you, if he was like 20 shades darker, this will be a very fucking different encounter. I'm just putting that out there. I like how he's very quiet now. Suddenly he's not, you made me kill the commerce, what the fuckers? Like, he's suddenly not like that anymore. He's suddenly very quiet and humble now that the cops are arresting him. You old fuck. You old cretin.
People are exercising their right. Just said the First Amendment right. The First Amendment right. Fuck, I will.
Wow. Wow. What a fucking old fart. I mean, it's like, that guy has never basically, he was the bully in high school, in middle school and elementary school, like, he was that guy. Because he was most likely probably neglected, you know, as a child and shit, you know, but also, like, hella fucking fed, you know, a lot of that, you know, anti-abortion rhetoric and shit. Because it's the witching hour. Well, damn. Luckily for me, I will be able to, but that's just spending when I want to. At this point. Almost out of this, though, so that's at least a good sign. But, kind of see. The random little things are on the tip, yeah. So at this point, pretty much covered all I need to cover and everything else, so. Oh. What's this? All Other Tomorrows, a new vision of humanity's horrific fates. Whoa. Whoa. I know of All Tomorrows. That was actually kind of a big thing for a while, but now there's All Other Tomorrows. This thing looks a little whack, not even gonna lie. What is this? What is this creature? What is this thing? I'm curious.
Years, humanity
Whoa.
had enjoyed a golden age. As a result of the Mars-Earth Civil War, our genetically modified descendants were able to colonize entire star systems, all while maintaining complete peace for many generations. Of course, after the Q invaded, nothing remained the same, including humanity. The seemingly godlike race of invaders tweaked and reformed
Chocolate Tacos discontinued. I'm always gonna hear that for like weeks on end, am I?
into animal-like creatures, building blocks, pets, and grotesque abominations. By the end of their 40-million-year reign, the dwindling remnants of humanity were unrecognizable. Formed and fitted to new alien environments, these post-humans were left to adapt.
Never had one. Me neither.
But despite all odds, many of humanity's twisted descendants managed to survive, even thrive in these new worlds. Species like the colonials managed to transcend their useless forms to become a fully functioning and mobile society. The contorted and dim-witted lopsiders regained sentience and developed interplanetary travel. But while the lineages of some post-humans achieved great things, others were sadly cut short.
Saw some fucked up baby deformities today. Damn.
Or simple lack of resources.
I wonder if any of them compared to, you know, some of the new humans in this shit.
Kind to races like the blind folk, titans,
The fuck you watching? Have you? I mean, there's this original thing that I remember seeing called All Tomorrows that actually kind of became a big meme for a while, and I guess there's new advancement, or I guess like an addition to it called All Other Tomorrows. It's actually kind of a cool like story in a sense, because it's basically, you know, in the perspective millions and millions in the future of like an archaeologist that, you know, is able to kind of rediscover, you know, a lot of like, you know, humans early past and shit, and, you know, concurrent past, you know, to some extent with this type of shit, because of a lot of like, you know, different aspects of like, you know, far future evolutionary, you know, elements and things like that. It's actually a really cool in-depth thing. You know, honestly, it's a little hard to probably get, you know, here, hold on, I'm just gonna do this.
billion-year chronicle of the myriad species and mixed fortunes of man.
I guess we'll do this really quick just to get a general synopsis.
Long ago, in the distant past, humans colonized Mars. It took centuries to terraform the red planet. First, they made oceans using the water from comets. Then they sent microbes to create breathable air, then introduced genetically modified plants and animals. It was only after Mars was transformed into a habitable world that the first people came to Mars in colony ships. So the first steps on Mars were taken not by astronauts, but by barefoot children on lush green grass.
Does this make no sense, or am I just really drunk? Probably both. It's kind of hard to explain.
Developed their own culture and identity separate to Earth. The low gravity made Martians tall and spindly, and they became almost a different species to the Earthlings. For hundreds of years, the two planets coexisted, but as Mars started to surpass Earth, tensions led to war. Interplanetary war wasn't glorious or exciting. There were no heroic pilots or massive spaceships. The war was fought by complicated
Hardcore sci-fi to me. It is.
Machines in a slow, strategic, nerve-wracking contest that caused unimaginable destruction. Billions of people died in the war, and humans almost went extinct. So the survivors of Earth and Mars united and made a plan to ensure this would never happen again. Humanity made massive reforms to their politics and economics, and they changed themselves. They genetically modified humanity into a new subspecies called the Star People, made to be better and smarter and adapted to expand into space.
Oberdimension!
And it worked.
Obermensch!
New generation, the unified Star People peacefully colonized the solar system. Other stars were too far away to fly to in person, so instead the Star People sent out automated machines that would fly to distant worlds and terraform them, then use genetic material to create people to live there. There was a weird problem with these colonies, where many humans fell in love with the machines that had created them, and died in mass identity crises. But the colonies that survived thrived, and expanded across the galaxy, starting a golden age for humanity. Trillions of people lived peaceful,
I feel like the guy who made this is probably racist, but I'm not understanding what the fuck is happening here. Actually, he's not. But basically, essentially, I mean, the overall themes of the idea of All Tomorrows is that the general synopsis is that, like, humanity, you know, is able to kind of achieve interstellar travel and eventually, over generations, terraform Mars to an ability to where it can potentially be habitable. And thus are able to, and thus, kind of form these, Martian people from that. And because of the distance and, the different cultural and societal norms that, develop because of that, including evolutionarily as well, they essentially have a massive war that nearly wipes both races out, essentially, or at least sub-races of humans out. And thus, they genetically modify another group of humans called the Star People, which is kind of this, where they essentially would, be able to kind of, bring peace to a lot of that, and on top of, being able to kind of propagate humanity further by going to these other planets, too.
The worlds united by communication across centuries of light. As the Star People explored space, they discovered some alien creatures, but didn't find any intelligent life. So they wondered, were humans alone in the galaxy? On one alien world, they found a fossil of a bird-like creature that didn't seem related to the other native life. The native creatures had 3 limbs and copper bones, but this bird had 4 limbs and calcium bones. It seemed related to an extinct dinosaur from Earth. So how the hell did this extinct Earth animal end up on this distant alien world? Some people thought God must have done it, and there was a resurgence of religion. But others thought aliens did it, that there must be some civilization out there who had spaceflight and bioengineering millions of years before humans even had fire. Humanity hoped that these aliens would be peaceful, but just in case, they built weapons to defend themselves. Weapons so
That's an injured polar bear. An injured polar bear? I mean, God, gaps, baby. Yeah, I mean, you know, that in a sense, you know, in this, you know, even millions, like even hundreds of thousands and maybe like millions of years in the future, like, God, the gaps brings religion back, baby. Atheism is still alive and strong if you think about it. It's like you still got scientists and atheists out there be like, no, it's not God, you fucking weirdos. No, there's researchers of this shit, damn it, no!
Stars. But all of that was useless in the end. Humanity was attacked by a godlike...
The Q, which was mentioned initially.
Species called...
But because y'all don't understand this bullshit now, we have to, like, you know, kind of give a general synopsis. Hence this.
They were galactic nomads who constantly migrated through space, and they had a fanatical religious mission to remake the universe using genetic manipulation. So when the Q found humans, they didn't see them as people. They were just objects to be changed into whatever shape the Q wanted. Within 1,000 years...
So Star Trek is true. Not Q-U, but still pronounced as Q. Not literally Q like, you know, from Star Trek. No. It's these weird insect-looking things that you're seeing here in this, like, you know, diagram or this, like, little picture of it. It's the idea of what they look like.
But some human species lived on, because the Q used their bioengineering technology to reshape humanity into thousands of bizarre subspecies. They made humans into tools, into pets, into wild animals. They ruled over the human worlds for 40 million years, and then they fucked off to find their next victims, leaving humanity divided and differentiated beyond recognition. These twisted species were the last remnants of humanity.
And that's kind of where the whole story of All Tomorrow starts. Which, you know, are all these different subspecies. And really, honestly, like, I mean, I know what Colby was saying earlier. It's like, you know, the guys probably made it. It's like, really, realistically, no. If anything, kind of the opposite. Because you have all these different subspecies. And if you actually watch this in totality, a lot of these different subspecies actually ended up, you know, banding together and actually being very closely diplomatically aligned with each other. And a lot of it actually is, you know, kind of a theme and a very strong tale of overcoming struggle, even when pretty much like all odds are against you. I mean, quite literally. Because you have like this literal godlike being that fucks with your entire species to the point you're hundreds of different subspecies. Not all of you make it, but enough of you do to eventually to where you all like overcome the struggles and adapt, you know, so much even on an evolutionary scale. I mean, it's actually kind of like, you know, if anything, the opposite of like, you know, kind of a racist type of story. I'd rather deal with the Q and his weird psychological sexual advancement than weird insect people. True, I would. I remember that old DP episode where Paul gets really high and explains the movie idea where he has, and all they tell me, he just summarized the plot of Star Trek and he pours out some salted tears or whatever. Oh my god. But yeah, here, let me go back to the library. So, because I'm a little interested. But now that we kind of have a general synopsis, this is kind of, you know, at least you could probably get maybe a hopeful, somewhat understanding, you know.
Become extinct. What if they, like many other posthumans, had been given the chance to become something greater? This is the question posed by artist Venga Van Gogh, who envisions a different future for these unfortunate beings. Though the reason for these differing accounts isn't fully known, it seems most likely that these newly uncovered events take place in an entirely alternate timeline. In any case, for at least 6 species, things played out much differently here. Come along, dear traveler, as we explore the revised future of all other tomorrows. When the Q invaded...
The only thing better was the LC episode. Which episode was it when he pulled out salted tears on that one? Because I don't think I saw that one.
Humanity tried to escape by tunneling underground. Sadly, this effort was in vain, as the Q easily found them, and like they'd done with the rest of humanity, genetically transformed them. The blind folk became nearly perfectly adapted for their new subterranean home, complete with large mobile ears, long fingers, and the ability to echolocate. As a result, they completely
Don't
lost not
remember.
only the ability
Venomite.
to see, but their eyes altogether. Previously, it was thought that shifting tectonic plates wiped out all of the blind folk well before they could achieve sapience. But data from this alternate timeline indicates that a small group of blind folk escaped their doomed home and managed to survive on the surface. But of course, the blind folk still lacked eyes, so they adapted to stalking their planet's moonless nights. Over time, their ears moved to what had been their ancestors' eye sockets and merged with the ultrasonic call-producing
You don't remember either? Oh my god.
structures derived from their noses, forming a grotesque lotus of flesh. At this point,
Whoa.
these descendants of
I mean, it almost looks like a bat now. Like, cause, I mean, if you look at the original concepts of what the blind folk look like, I mean, they look more like a mouse than anything. But then their future, like their more evolved concept looks more like a bat. See, this is also why I love All Tomorrows, is because, like, it kind of fucks around with evolution a little bit. It kind of lets you play around with, like, evolutionary speaking, given certain parameters and circumstances. How would this evolve to be a different thing and thus look like this? I mean, it's a very, really cool sci-fi in a sense that it's evolutionary sci-fi. It's not like your traditional science fiction, like it's space aliens and fucking humans and, like, you know, rail guns and shit like that and, like, you know, lightsabers or something. It's more of like a long-term, like, you know, hyper evolutionary type of science fiction, more so than, you know, like the traditional science fiction that you're probably used to. At least this isn't fascist as fuck Warhammer. Yeah, like, I mean, realistically, if anything, there is actually a critique of fascism within All Tomorrows. Because if you think of the Q, they literally see anything lesser than them as objects. They see other sentient beings as Untermensch, essentially. So the Q, essentially a hyper-fanatically xenophobic religious society, pretty fascistic, you know, is essentially fucking with everything and, you know, genetically modifying and, you know, essentially doing whatever they please, you know, with other races and shit, like, you know, like blind folk, you know, is one example of thousands, really. And, you know, from that, you know, really, you know, comes, you know, with a lot of struggle and ability to overcome, you know, against that type of shit. So, I mean, honestly, the guy who, the original author who made All Tomorrows is actually, in a lot of ways, and there was actually one video I remember kind of doing a synopsis of, like, some of the political themes and social themes of the book, specifically, because everyone else is focusing on other shit, like the art and stuff like that. You know, it's just like, a lot of things, you know, from the video I remember noticed was that there actually is a lot of anti-fascist type of themes, you know, that are in there. If anything, there's actually, like, in a lot of ways, at least with some of the different human subspecies, are actually kind of communistically themed, you know, with some of their evolution. Like with the colonials, they evolved to be a very hyper-collectivistic and, if anything, kind of a communistic society in order to survive and overcome their struggle. So, you know, because they all have to work in tandem, you know, in order for all of them to prosper and survive. And all of them, you know, works and according to the needs and the abilities of the entire hive of the colony. You know, with the colonials, which evolved into, I forgot what they were called specifically, but I mean, which evolved, the modular people, I think they were called, which essentially, like, the different modular forms were, like, you know, the different individuals of the overall collective of the different, you know, hives, or, you know, like, the different, you know, overall collectives, really. It's, I mean, if anything, it's, like, you know, kind of cool, like, how it, like, you know, in a way, you know, fucks with a lot of these different ideologies, in a sense, you know, by making them into weird subspecies of man, basically, and kind of like giving a sense of, you know, theme to it, whether as like a pro theme or a critique to it.
Forming a grotesque lotus of flesh. At this point, these descendants of the blind folk were called clickers. The clickers' sonar proved so precise that they could literally see forms and even textures in the reflected sounds. These astounding adaptations catapulted the species to the status of apex predator.
Whoa.
They even managed to regain the sapience once lost to their kind. Eventually, enormous cities began to pop up across the planet's surface, though at night these cities were nearly invisible. For an eyeless species, after all, no lights were necessary. The spaces of the clicker cities were cramped by our standards. In fact, to us, their dwelling places resembled something like a Kowloon walled city, albeit much cleaner and integrated with greater technology. Indeed, for the previously cave-dwelling clickers, these dense...
Really? I couldn't call anything clicker because of The Last of Us. I mean, a little bit. I could kind of imagine that. What's that clicker doing here? I mean, I guess a little bit, but I mean, it's more based on, like, you know, what their name would be, you know, based on, like, what... You have to think about from, like, a kind of an archaeological perspective, I suppose, because, like, the perspective of Old Tomorrows is through archaeologists of a different sentient alien race that is, you know, looking at all this shit. So that's kind of the one element about it, but, you know, because there's this one subhuman race called, what were they called? They were, they were called the hedonists. So basically, I mean, in a little way, like, that kind of sounds like, wait, what? So someone who's just a hedonist? But that's, like, basically literally what the species name was because of the planet they lived on. It was, like, basically a Gaia world, and it had no predators or anything like that, so basically it was, like, bliss all around, so they can afford to basically kind of fuck willy-nilly and do whatever, so hence their name. So, you know, it's just like with this, you know, considering that a lot of their evolution changed into, like, you know, kind of clicking in a sense, you know, for echolocation, hence their name. I mean, you know, it's not like it. I suppose in our sense, like, because I know there are legitimately, like, different African tribes that, you know, for language and vocal communication do clicks and things like that. I mean, but that's, I mean, that's not the intention, obviously. Like, it's more of, like, you know, like I said, you know, like, if you were looking at, like, an archaeological perspective, especially seeing how they evolved evolutionarily and being like, oh, like, how they, you know, communicated or were able to see, so to speak, given their, you know, how their senses are, and not having any sight, they would use, you know, clicking or some form of, like, echolocation, you know, like that, you know, to be able to perceive these type of things. Hence the name. You know, hence, like, you know, the rat folk, you know, initially, because they kind of look like mice and rats. So it's just like, it's more or less kind of a generic name to, you know, like, to, you know, what they look like, more or less, than, you know, anything else. Ignore saying alien archaeologists can't be racist. That's racist! Damn. Justify racism over here. That's all I'm doing, is just justify racism, brother. Man, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. Come on, fuck. I don't want to, like, leave this hanging, but, like, because it's kind of fun. I kind of like exploring these little, like, alternate, you know, things, because a lot... Are the rat folk bankers? No, like, they were one of the human subspecies that avoided the Q for some time before the Q found them anyway. So, as a form of punishment, the Q basically took out their entire sense of sight. Hence, you know, the rat folk. Like, no, they're not I mean, they're not, like, bankers and shit. Like, no. Aliens could be bigoted assholes just like anyone else. I mean, true. I mean, realistically, we don't know how the sentient aliens outside this fucking, you know, solar system operate. They could be xenophobic as fuck. We don't know. But this is just some hypothetical, like, far sci-fi evolutionary shit. I mean, you know, come on now. It's not... I mean, we can play with hypotheticals here. Anyway, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. Is Zukov alive? Oh my god, he is knocked the fuck out. Yeah, hi, are you alive? Oh my god. You stretchy boy. sweet little bite. Little chunk. Let's learn to love our alien neighbors like the Christians learned in Rome. Just watched the Onion Nuggets before this and laughed so hard at Scotty. I shouldn't say this, TJ. Is Andy Smag Scotty? Yes, very. Oh, I remember that. I remember that. I know what you're talking about. Man, Scotty knows some, like, raunchy, edgy-ass jokes, and I kind of low-key wish he would just, like, just fucking just say it, you know? Like the racist Jew joke. Like, well, we're never gonna find that out, are we? We're never gonna know that joke. Like, we're gonna hear about it forever, time immemorial, but Scott will never spill the beans. Apparently, he's only told that joke like once or twice ever, anyway. So it's like, it's rare that anyone will ever hear that. It's like, fuck. And apparently, it's hilarious as fuck, and I kind of want to know. He's the one that got the show banned before, though. Oh, yeah, that's right. With the whole... That's right! Oh my god, yeah, that is true. Yeah, Scotty is a little bit of an edgelord, dude. I love it. I love Scotty, bro. Scotty's too good. Scotty's too great, man. Here. See some more of this.
Homes. But though clicker society and technology advanced greatly, their inability to see meant that the sky above was nothing more than an endless void. Needless to say, this terrified the clickers. Fortunately, when visitors from this void arrived, they were friendly, even helpful. But that's a story for another time. For now, dear traveler, we'll be moving on to another no longer doomed species. The Titans were a monolithic race of subhumans genetically manipulated into giant elephant-like herbivores. The Titans roamed the open plains of their home planet for eons, and their prehensile lower lip allowed them to interact with their environment with great dexterity. Advantages like this facilitated the Titans' reacquired sapience, though by our own technology, Titan society never moved beyond the Stone Age. It was previously thought that the entire species was wiped out by a catastrophic ice age, but in our alternate timeline, data reveals that a small subset of Titans had developed a thick coat of fur and were therefore able to survive the ice age, though this survival came at the cost of their proto-civilization. Eventually, the ice retreated and the sea began to rise. This split the Titan species into two separate lineages, one population becoming isolated on an island with limited resources, and as a result, greatly reducing in size. This population became a distinct species, called the Grazers. After some time, a land bridge arose, and the now vastly different Titans and Grazers were forced to compete. At first glance, given their smaller size and lifespans, it may seem like the Grazers were at a severe disadvantage. But while this may be true, as it turned out, what nature took in terms of physical attributes, it gave back in intelligence. The wolf
thing looks wacky as fuck. That's kind of why I love these, like, far-fetched evolutionary sci-fi type of, you know, fictionary things, because you can play around with shit like that. This guy has to take you to underground bunker access by secret door behind a bookshelf for you to hear the joke, but first you have to prove your worth by gifting him a mystic item. And as teaches is familiar, so far no one else has heard the joke. Yeah, basically. I just watched the DP drink competition recently too, between Paul and Sky. That shit has got insane. Oh, man, you're making me nostalgic for some of these old DP episodes.
Their hand were so large that they were never in any danger of predation, and therefore never needed the same level of cunning ingenuity. As a result, sapiens never re-emerged in the Titan populations. A million years later, the Grazers had surpassed the Stone Age level of intelligence possessed by their pre-Ice Age ancestors. They built an expansionist civilization that displaced their giant barbaric cousins, and eventually drove them to extinction.
Damn.
The Grazers themselves were roughly the size of a cow, and with much more gracile proportions. The lip trunk of their ancestors split into two dexterous appendages, much like hands, which facilitated the use of tools and allowed them to build vast cities. But though some of their adaptations...
Almost kind of like those Minotaurs, almost. Like, you know how, like, you know, you got, like, the feral body, but you still kind of have, like, the human torso as well and shit. I mean, but instead, I mean, it's just kind of like the weird little... That's kind of actually kind of a cool little thing I'm noticing there. It's kind of like a, you know... It's kind of like a little adaptation of a sense of like, you know, how Minotaurs, you know, in a sense are kind of are. Which is kind of cool. That's kind of what I like about, you know, checking this shit out too, is kind of seeing where the commonalities or similarities are to a lot of things that are kind of in our own like folklore, mythology, or, you know, even our animals, or even in ourselves to a degree, and kind of see where the similarities, commonalities are, at least when it comes to the artwork.
The grazer's society is certainly not. In a true herd fashion, relatively few dominant males owned the majority.
Well, I mean, you have to give the circumstances of the planet they live on and how the Q fucked with them, making them more like, you know, these, you know, four-legged, you know, feral creatures and shit.
With most other men having to either become their pen lovers or gain favor with a harem owner and receive permission to spend a night with one of his wives. Pictured here is one of this race's most beautiful women posing on a beach. With most attractive females locked in harems, the demand for erotic photography like this is extremely high among the common male grazer population. In the post-human reality brought on by the Q...
Damn, we were looking at Rule 34 that entire time.
The story of the Mantelopes is undoubtedly one of the most tragic. Bred by the Q as singers and memory retainers, the Mantelopes didn't fare...
skipped on one of my things. I was sorry myself. Oh, did I? Maybe it didn't pop up because I'm not seeing it.
Lord's abrupt departure. Their bodies quickly
Sometimes it does
to a
that.
quadrupedal stance, utterly useless for any kind of meaningful interaction with their world. Their minds, however, remained fully intelligent. The Mantelopes lived in an agonizing limbo of unrealized potential, their societies doomed to never progress beyond their bodies' limited ability. The one and only point of comfort for the Mantelopes is that their plight was short-lived. In the original timeline, without a way to put their minds to use, the species lost their intelligence after a few dozen short generations. The fate of the same species in an alternate timeline, however, is
the Mantelopes are actually legitimately kind of a tragic story with the original Ultramarines, because, I mean, if you have a full sentience, but you basically have no way, like, literally, you're basically in purgatory. You can't do fucking shit, besides just, like, graze, and, like, fuck occasionally, based on just sheer biological urge. I mean, at that point, I mean, it's just like, that... Like, the overall story with them is legitimately tragic, because a lot of what they would do is basically sing a lot of songs that would be the equivalent of just, like, you know, sad, like, whales or some shit like that, you know, singing or something. I mean, it would basically be the equivalent of just something like that. They're actually legitimately kind of one of the bigger tragedies of the overall, like, All Tomorrow's story and shit.
Begins with another post-human race, the Spacers. A marginal group of spacers dared to explore one of the Q's abandoned star systems, where they came across a species that seemed to retain some semblance of sentience. Of course, these were the Mantelopes. The spacers realized that the Mantelopes were not only intelligent, but their breeding had left them with an innate desire to fill their minds with as much information as possible. Of course, thanks to the cruel hand dealt
A man and a cantaloupe.
they could...
I mean, it's basically the equivalent of, like, if you were a gazelle but you had full sentience. Or I guess in this case a giraffe but full sentience. Like, of a human, basically.
This desire by the retelling of oral traditions. Though some details...
I suppose depending on your perspective on things, it would actually be probably dope, because I know, like, there's furries that have personas that are giraffes, and they'll probably be like, okay. Okay, that sounds like an N-word for aliens. Damn spacers taking our jobs. I mean, in our world, like, in our real, like, yeah, that actually would probably be the case. Like, these fucking spacers taking our damn jobs, you motherfuckers. Dude, that would be. That unironically totally would be.
generations, the spacers quickly realized that the Mantelope's ability to retain information was unparalleled throughout
Basically Melman from Madagascar. Yeah.
Galaxy, and much of that information was directly related to the
Basically.
Q. Purely out of practical benefit, the spacers began to trade with the Mantelopes, offering them protection and comfort in exchange for intel about the Q and their machines. The spacers became this planet's gods, residing in the heavens and patronizing their chosen peoples via remote-controlled robot guards, and in return, collecting a tribute of detailed accounts of this world's past. The
Wow.
information gathered by the spacers allowed them to fill in great swaths of missing information about the Q, and allowed them to reverse engineer many useful artifacts. Eventually, though, the well of ancient Mantelope
That's pretty
knowledge
dope.
started to run dry. But the spacers quickly found a new role for the race, and it was just what the Mantelopes had been bred for. the recording and retaining of information. What started as a simple trading agreement gradually became a tight symbiosis. Sprawling cities appeared on the Mantalope's home planet, where millions of this formerly tragic species worked as regenerating, bug-proof computers, recording and storing every contract or scientific article that their orbital partners deemed important. In return, the Spacers' machines provided for their every need. Eventually, the Mantalope's nearest star system became the prime information hub and the unofficial capital of the Spacer Empire, and communities of Mantalope spread all across the galaxy aboard their masters' asteroid arcs. After eons of such close cohabitation, the species fully adapted to their role in the symbiosis. Their brains expanded drastically, in some breeds taking up more than 2/3 of the body weight. Their bodies, no longer necessary in a wholly artificial environment, became completely immobile. Large sections of Spacer's interstellar asteroid arcs were converted into sprawling networks of honeycomb-like nests, housing Mantalope breeds with even larger brains modified for the zero-G environment and catered to by their former gods themselves. Finally, the whole race was connected to a telepathic network via neural technology, becoming essentially a biological supercomputer capable of performing calculations at rates previously thought impossible, storing exabytes.
Basically like super biological AI computers. That's actually kind of fucking dope. It's kind of cool, actually.
And even
I mean, maybe not exactly for what the Spacers are doing to them, but I mean, just the general premise actually kind of sounds dope.
Like dream worlds for the Spacers, now called Asteromorphs, to interface with. These biological thinking machines, no longer resembling man nor antelope, came to be known as processors, and with their symbiotes they grew to dominate the galaxy. But while the immense storage power of the Mantalope's brains was impressive even to the Spacers, they will never know how much data was lost in the retelling of their stories from generation to generation. If only they'd had access to today's sponsor, World Anvil.
Oh, sponsor, fuck you. Fuck you. Skip this bitch.
Beck Evo World.
Oh my god.
Yourself, the project, and just haven't figured or finished projects. Us. The original lineage of the Bone Crushers is as fascinating as it is diverse. It began when the Q specifically bred a subset of humanity to act as pets, with large tooth-derived beaks solely for display. Once the Q vanished, most of these pampered pets died out, unable to fend long for themselves. But others managed to thrive, filling both herbivore and predator niches across their home planet. The one thing they all had in common? Large beaks that jutted out from their mouth. The Bone Crushers themselves were just one of these many species, but they achieved what their relatives did not. A primitive form of intelligence.
And also, one weird thing about these guys is that they have scatological communication. Don't ask me how that works. And they also preferred like rotting fowl meat in comparison to just like fresh meat when it came to consumption. So at least when it came to the more like predatory carnivore versions of them. Wait, scat? Yeah, I'm not. I don't explain. That's a part of it. I'm not even fucking kidding you. I don't know why. I'm assuming it's probably the same way like maybe dogs, you know, can gather information, you know, if they like sniff or like eat a little bit of, you know, some turds and stuff, you know what I mean? I'm assuming that's probably how the Bone Crushers are kind of a weird fucking like, frankly, legit kind of gross. Like, I mean, just dead ass. They're just kind of gross as fuck.
Are there?
It's not logical, but it's scatological. Yeah, it is. I mean, really, yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, again, I don't know why. I don't remember all the full reasonings to it. I don't even think there is a true, like, you know, consensus, you know, within even the original All Tomorrow's lore. But at least in the original All Tomorrow's book, they basically got as far as the medieval age, but then because of you know, diseases and other various aspects, they couldn't really go farther than that, you know, and basically essentially collapsed and went extinct, you know. So like, they didn't really go far. I mean, they were able to, like, you know, get pretty decently ahead, you know, as a species, but not exactly that far, though, all things considered.
Already advanced, they were limited by their own physiology. As scavengers, the Bone Crushers were...
If Dusty Smith has shit fetish, it's got logic! Instead of logic, it's scatologic.
Just putrefying meat. which severely limited their population. As a side note, as you might have guessed, the bone crushers smelled terrible, at least to our perception, and not only because of their diet. To show affection, this species defecated on each other. For them, this was all
Oh, well, yeah, I guess it explains it in this video. There you go.
quite natural. Eventually, the lack of decaying resources led to the bone crusher's extinction, at least in the original timeline. In another, they achieved greater success. They learned how to artificially ferment flesh, allowing them to avoid mass starvation.
Planet Germany? Planet Germany?
A number of physiological changes as well. Without the need to crush bones and tough flesh, the bone crusher's beaks shrunk, and the lack of competition saw their bodies reduced in size. All of these changes led to an entirely new
Guys,
classification.
self-reporting here. The channel creator is not, like, you know, the creator of the actual, like, All Tomorrows thing. I mean, like, that's more of self-report to the author of All Tomorrows.
Species was now called the rot eaters. Despite all these changes, the rot eaters retained their ancestors' heightened sense of smell, which was as deeply a part of their culture as sight is to ours, and their sweat glands as vital to communication as vocal cords are to us. Still, even with all this advancement, the act of affectionate defecation remained ingrained in the rot eaters' culture. Depicted here as one of this race's most renowned scientists, a product of the rot eater's success as a species. While many of humanity's descendants, so twisted by the Q, might bear a vague resemblance to their ancestors, some were so hideously changed that their form was entirely unrecognizable. Such was the case for the Temptors, a race that showcases the true extreme of sexual dimorphism.
This shit's actually kind of whack.
Females, originally bred as plant-like decorations for the Q, were little more than beaked cones of flesh rooted in the soil. The males, on the other hand, were fully mobile, but much, much smaller. Temptor society
Kind of like spiders.
Simple. Using a combination of pheromones and vocal cues, the females completely controlled the males. With no will of their own, the males were essentially drones, feeding and caring for the female in every aspect. Though
literally simps.
This system was terribly efficient. Unfortunately,
simp the species.
Fortunately, in the original timeline, a comet struck the Temptor's home planet and ended their entire species. But now, by peering into an alternate timeline, we can catch a glimpse of how things might have progressed for these ill-fated descendants of humanity. Over time, the males grew even more specialized, splitting into several anatomically differing castes, the affiliation to each determined by their mother's hormonal balances during gestation. As a result, the means of controlling these crowds of workers and soldiers grew more and more intricate, until they were guided...
Yes. Well, this is basically a matriarchy. I mean, this is sexism, I guess, in the other way.
Radio-controlled toy cars. Competition between the
Wait, what? Hold on.
The affiliation to each determined by their
What about toy cars?
balances during gestation. As a result, the means of controlling these crowds of workers and soldiers grew more and more intricate until they were guided almost as directly as radio-controlled toy cars.
Oh.
Competition between the anthill-like colonies of females and their drones grew increasingly fierce and spurred the development
Kind of like ants in this way. They almost become kind of like a queen, you know, like kind of like a hive-based, you know, insect society. Kind of like, you know, bees, insect, you know, like wasps, termites, ants, and shit like that.
Eventually, some colonies developed fire and established agriculture. At this point, the Temptors had become something entirely new, the puppeteers. Puppeteer civilization advanced rapidly, but the feudal-like societies were...
Let's start the toy cars part first. Basically saying that, like, the males are essentially, you know, easily controllable, like an RC car, basically. But yeah,
overpopulation.
I didn't get it at first. I was like, wait, man. That's why I went back. I was like, wait, what?
Largest cities might only contain a few thousand landowning females, but millions and millions of males. To combat this growing issue, two schools of thought emerged. On one
This
side,
is basically just like our world, but women rule the world instead of rich white old males. Like, I mean, oh my god.
who argued that the majority of males should be replaced with machines. On the other side were the conservatives, who saw the males as extensions of their bodies and considered this innovation a transhumanist perversion. Eventually, the transhumanists prevailed, but only after a war that culminated in the use of a genetic weapon that rendered the enemy queens sterile. In the aftermath, most living males were slaughtered and replaced with machines. It was a cruel result, but one that ultimately saved the puppeteers from extinction, and even allowed them to reach a space age of their own. Pictured here are two males of different castes belonging to a pre-automation enthusiast. Both are heavily modified for their jobs with a combination of genetic engineering and mechanical augmentation, and controlled directly by the queen's brain. The towers seen in the background are the residences of their queen's relatives, each populated by just one female and a few hundred servants, mechanical and organic alike. For a
Gotta
time,
sleep
the
soon, gotta work soon. Yeah, no worries, man.
gravity world of the Striders was a kind of paradise. These delicate descendants of humanity lived peacefully among forests of towering plant life, completely free from predation. The only real danger for these graceful creatures was their own crippling fragility. If even a gust of wind were to topple them, their thin and stretched bones would likely shatter on impact.
Yeah, and what else funny? It will be mentioned in the video, but what caused their extinction for the Striders is that basically like a chicken on like a form of like the equivalent of a chicken on that planet evolved to be predatory and basically wiped them out. Like, I'm not even kidding, like a chicken evolved to be predatory and wiped them all out because of how fragile they are. It's like that's basically what happened.
As a species, the Striders were successful. That is, until an avian predator emerged, wiping out their entire
Yep,
population.
chickens.
But in this alternate timeline, a mutation occurred in one of the Strider populations, drastically expanding an ability that had only begun to emerge in the greater species, the ability to change skin color. Now, when the predators arrived, these Striders learned the ability to completely camouflage, blending in with the plants and branches they called home.
Like
to further
chameleons.
escape the dangers the forest floor presented, the Striders adapted to a fully arboreal lifestyle. Even more adaptations began to emerge as well. Leaf-like outgrowths grew from their limbs, and at-will wrinkling of the skin eerily resembled tree bark. Their bodies lightened by shrinking in size, but also became sturdier in order to survive jumps from tree to tree.
Almost
Their
like a stick bug.
unique morphology allowed the Striders to visually communicate at long distances by rapidly changing the color and position of the leaf-like growths on their heads and long twig-like fingers. At close distances, they spoke with long, deep, woodwind-like hoots. The need to navigate their complex, three-dimensional environment quickly spurred the re-emergence of intelligence, and soon the now sentient stickmen drove their bird predators out of the forests. Gentle and relatively fragile as they were, the stickmen developed a culture emphasizing calmness, patience, and prudence. Descended from creatures that had to stay motionless for extended periods of time, they disliked conflict and bustle, preferring quiet activities that demanded a great deal of concentration.
Based. It sounds like my type of living. Things are kind of chill, you're patient, you know, you take your time with some stuff, you know, it's like, hey, if you got some shit you gotta do, you take your time, you be patient, you work it out slowly, you know, it's like, it sounds like my type of world, man. It sounds like a low-key, like, you know, the brains have basically became like stoners but efficient. Not saying that stoners aren't, but, you know, it's like hyper-efficient. Like, evolved to be efficient
Philosophies and spiritual
stoners.
teachings the stickmen produced rivaled those of the Terra Sapiens, but were diametrically opposite in their message. Pictured here is a stickman resting in a treetop. He is able to enter a kind of cataleptic state, sitting completely motionless for hours on end. Many of his world's prime vacation spots would seem deeply unsettling to the modern human, being eerily quiet and filled with surreal people standing as still as statues. As we've seen, thanks to the efforts of Vanga Van Gogh, the alternate histories for at least a few of the Q's twisted experiments are decidedly more hopeful. If you'd like to see more of their artwork, be sure to check out their link in the description. Also, a huge shout out to World Anvil for making...
Oh my god, another sponsor? Holy shit, there's like more than one sponsor in this video. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, that's actually, you know, some cool, like, different alternate history to an already alternate history hypothetical sci-fi universe. So All Tomorrow is just pretty fucking crazy, like, all in all. Especially if, like, you know, some of the new humans and early humans and shit, with how some of them go extinct and shit. Because at least if the ones they were mentioning, they were referring to a lot of the ones that went extinct, but kind of an alternate timeline from an alternate timeline where they didn't. But a lot of them, you know, the ones that weren't mentioned, obviously, you know, surpassed and overcame a lot of the struggle in evolutionary strife and shit. And were able to kind of, you know, become, you know, these new and better, you know, species that, you know, were able to, you know, eventually kind of become, if anything, you know, better, more adapted humans. And kind of, if anything, become human again. Even if they weren't necessarily the same at that point. And in fact, they aren't. I mean, all of them are all different in some way. But that's what, I mean, that's what's really cool about All Tomorrow. It's just that it's kind of like, you know, generally an entire story about overcoming struggle and strife and you know, and being able to kind of adapt and overcome and shit. It's really good, like, little sci-fi book. I know there's an audiobook of it on YouTube. I know that much. I think it's only just like a little over an hour long, so it's not really that long of a read. Because it's supposed to read more like a long, you know, research archaeological paper, if anything. Get one more bowl smoked up. Probably call it good for that. But yeah, I definitely recommend checking out All Tomorrow. So, really good shit. At least I like it. Definitely not your traditional sci-fi. Ugh, man, I hate sweating and schwitzing. Oh my god, it's ridiculous. Sucks. Boo. Boo. I mean, like, little, like, paper towels and shit that I just go through, just, like, you know, wiping schwitz and schwetz, you know, this entire frame alone. My god. Like, what, like 6? Jesus. Ay, Dios mío. At least the heat wave is almost over. How many more days? Le Cuca? Come here for shit. What the? Yeah. Oh my god, 77 right now? Are you fucking kidding me? They're sweaty and then they're schvetty. Yep. And that's how it feels right about now. Schvetty. So today, so that's Saturday, or, right, yeah. 101? No! I have to work today. Fuck me. Well, tomorrow, I guess. Sunday, 99, Monday, 89, Tuesday, 82. Oh my god. Wednesday, 78, Thursday, 76. Oh my god. Oh no, it goes back up. Friday, 85, Saturday, 92, Sunday, 93, Monday, 95. Oh my. Ah! Kill me. Oh my god. Roblox me in Minecraft with a Grand Theft Auto machine. Oh my god. Like, just stuff me in a Minecraft server, fucking, like, let a bunch of Grand Theft Auto Online bros just yeet me away and kill me 1,000 times over in Roblox. Because, oh my god, I want a video game myself, knowing that, like, the next 10 days are gonna be that shite. Fuck me, dude. Ugh. Gross. At least it ain't gonna be no 101, but that's just the next 10 days. I mean, the next, like, 2 weeks are probably gonna be worse. But anyway, I'll call it good for the rest of the evening, at least for now. So, peace out, and of course, I shall be back around for the next one. So, toodaloo, and I hope I can stay cool, because I'm like,